Good morning. It is a lovely day today. I hope you have started yours well. If you've tuned into our morning, then there's no better way to start your morning. My name is Stephanie Yata, and I'm all excited about this week. I'm all excited about today. We have so much lined up for you. And today I'm not alone. I am joined by the amazing Brian Sakura. Karibu sana, Sakura.
Yes, how are you? Good morning to you, Steph.
Good morning. It's been a minute. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
There you go.
Yes.
Happy New Year. How have you been?
I've been fantastic. I think the year has begun with a bang. It's been quite a minute before I did this TV thing. I think I was the last one to leave last year.
Yeah. You did quite a lot last year.
Yeah, and good to be back. Feels like a fresh start. Yeah.
All right. Glad to have you back.
Glad to also have you back. Remember, by the time you were leaving, you had already disappeared and traveled, yeah?
Yeah, now back with a full swing.
Yes, absolutely.
You never left. All right, let me allow you to say hi.
Oh, yes, by the way, good morning to you. Thank you, Sana, for joining us on this morning show. We are trying to recover from the words we use, yeah? Hopefully English will not escape. Try channel. You can find me at Brian Sakura 101. And today on the last segment, we'll be talking about finding purpose, especially after now that the KCSE examinations results were just released last week. What next? What route do you take? Especially, there's something, Steph, about, examinations, especially those that did not maybe qualify to get, I say, the cutting mark to join university. But the good news is C+ is the grade that they're going to use as the last entry point to uni. So meaning that, the number is going to increase of students who are joining university this year. So I think it's an interesting thing. But then what happens for those that did not make it to that grade? Is it the end of their dream? Maybe you're anticipating you join a university. Maybe you're anticipating to even get a greater grade, like let's say B or B+ and A. And for those that scored A as well, congratulations as well. A minus, B+, B minus. All of them are going to uni, so I think it's a good thing. But then when you look at it as well, we don't want to get to the issues the Minister of Education is going through, but here it means that the influx is going to be massive. So probably the funding models and everything that needs to be restructured in the education sector, it needs to happen starting this year very fast, exactly. Yeah, so yes,
I think even apart from that, there's still a lot that the ministry needs to do, and this is in regard to CAPSEA. No, not really CAPSEA, but JSS, Junior Secondary School, right? Because now with the reopening of schools, children are back to school, but as for government schools especially, but they're still in their previous class. So those that were in grade 8 are still in grade 8. Those who are in grade 6 because of the new classes. So the new classes have been built for some schools, but not completed. For others, I don't know, probably not started. So the ministry says they need an extra month for them to have this completed. So the questions that some people are asking is now who's affected? Because now if them remaining in one class means that there's a class that is not coming in. So are they taking in, is it PP1, is it nursery, the young ones? Are they the ones suffering? So, but again, if it's just 1 month, then it might not be big because for nursery school kids, there's no hurry per se in going to school. But, we do not want an instance where that will affect the calendar for even these young ones, for them to go to school, and all that. Even for those in grade 7, grade 8 who are supposed to transition to grade 9, the pioneers who are supposed to transition to grade 9. And also this year is when we're going to have the second last KCSE done, because the last one will be next year. So meaning we have 2 classes in high school, that is Form 1 and 2 that are vacant. I'm not sure if I'm correct. So I know that there's a class that's vacant. I believe it's 2 classes that will be vacant. And so I don't know how that will go, but I know that from grade 9, they're supposed now transition to secondary school, and they're supposed to go to the secondary school based on their career.
Right.
You know, so if someone is going to do STEM, so that where there'll be schools which are, you know, specifically going to take in STEM students, and this mostly are going to be analyzed based on if they have the laboratories and stuff, and then we're going to have those that will be sports and arts. I'm believing that the analysis probably will be, do they have a field, do they have grounds and stuff, and then there'll be social sciences. So I know there are like 4 categories that the students are now taking up. Even this this particular year, they're taking a specific, they're very, probably just concentrating on careers that they want to go to transition to, just to prepare them to go to high school. So there's a lot that
needs to be done, But then as well, I remember there's a directive towards end of last year, the Ministry of Education issued, especially when it comes to security for boarding section, and they scrapped off several schools, and they were given time, some were given time to install facilities that can support boarding programs, because initially already they were supporting. So when they were enlisted as schools not qualified to be boarding schools, that threw I think the whole education sector in disarray. So there's those that are still waiting to hear, I think inspection, they're still waiting for inspection, and it was a number of schools. I remember we were trying to even point out with Val, some of them are semi-international kind of here, some of them are right in Nairobi, but each county, including Nairobi, the 47 counties, there was a list that was given of schools that are not safe for boarding programs. Yes. So I think it's still an issue, and students still have not gone back to school till right now.
Really?
Until they receive a notification if they're either shifting to another school to start different learning programs, or they'll go back to their initial school. So I think that's another issue, and it's big.
I think that's quite the disruption for students, especially, you know, and we'll follow up on it to see how it has been so far. But otherwise, away from that, just before we get to the papers, how has your holiday been? What is your resolution for 2025?
My resolutions for I actually was it today's Monday. I think 3 days ago, could be between Wednesday and Thursday, I was speaking to my cousin, and she asked me to predict 2025, and I did a TikTok video. But then it went on to how do you fulfill your dreams for the year, and actually it was intentional. I wrote down a couple of things this year. Even last year I did. So there's things that I will do, and there's things I want to do. But there's also things I'm looking forward to, and I'm trusting God. Some of them are personal. Some of them are, I say maybe 1, 2, 3. I can mention just in general. This year, I'm not arguing a lot with people. No arguments for me, Kabsa. If whatever happens, I'm not responding. I'm not arguing. It's just peace and peace and peace and peace all through. And then my cousin also said something about money. If you borrow money from me, because she also borrows money from me, and I also borrow money from her, it's like, tafadhali tu mwaka, no texts, hey, I need 2K urgently, hey, tafadhali nisaidie sijui nini, oh, sijui job nini, yeah. So she was saying like, return, in fact, return before you tell you return the money, yeah. But it's like, hey, because you are blood doesn't mean that you should take advantage. It's like, you know what, situations come and you gotta be ready to go through it. But you know what? So I think those are some of the underlying ones. Career-wise, I'm looking forward to have a good time right here on this morning show. I feel like each and every day feels like it's a new show. So I'm looking forward to have an amazing ride, even with the viewers back at home. And as well, hopefully you are prepared to have an amazing, time with us this year.
Absolutely.
And also I'm looking forward to changes as well. You know, a new year comes with new things. You never know what might change, what might come in new, what might go. So I'm open to receiving all the good things from God and the universe this year.
All right. You are all planned out. Seems like a good, some good resolutions there. For me, what do I have planned? There's also a lot. Just generally, just to I don't want to say really enjoy life,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I want to enjoy life.
Yeah.
I want to live. You know, sometimes you just go by the motions of life, which is
Yeah.
in a kuanga too, but just being intentional about,
Mm.
is it, what is the word for it? There's a word, then I'm not really getting it, but
Yeah.
being there for self, kind
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah, so being there for self,
Right.
and just growing in all aspects of my life, you know, be it spiritually, be it financially. Who doesn't
Yes.
want to grow financially? Be it career-wise.
Yes.
Over here, we want to grow together. You know, we share that, and just being intentional with things, with people around me, with things.
Yeah.
I think those are my resolutions in a very general way. Of course,
Right.
they should be specific. If you have your own, you know, just put something down. It could be specific. It could be one. It could be two. People think you need to have like
Yeah.
20 resolutions in a year, and then you fail to achieve any of those. I think a new year, and I think my mentor was telling this to some of us, a group of us, that with a new year, it usually starts with a lot of excitement, kind of hype and all that, because we want to do fireworks. Everyone has to come up with some resolution of some sorts, and he was telling us his new year actually began in last day in October. I was like, okay, fine. So because for others, January did not start well. So it doesn't mean that the year will be bad, because that's usually the notion. Oh, if you started your year badly, then probably it's going to be a bad year.
Space for the rest.
It doesn't have to be that way. If your year starts in February, it's fine. You just be intentional with when your year is starting. When you feel that shift in your life, you feel some things are shifting. That could be your new year, and you just do your resolutions for that year. For now, you just do, you can just do January resolutions. What do you want to accomplish in January? It's the small things that count. Pole, till you get to December, and you're like, oh, okay, I did this. You just take some things off. But one thing that I usually feel that it's also very important is to put down your vision on
paper,
write down on paper, write down on, if you're not a paper person, a book person where you read every other time, just somewhere you can refer it. So if it's your laptop, if it's your phone, where you will always see it, I think it makes a difference. Even being as a Christian, even in the Bible says, put down your vision. It helps somehow. So
right.
I think that's it. We look forward to a great show this year. It's going to be amazing, exciting new things coming up your way. So you make sure you also tell us what you want to see this year on Why in the Morning. You can talk to us at Y254. You can DM us on our personal handles. Yes. My producer is saying if you want us to bring Donald Trump, that's tutakuwa push our luck a bit.
But then he's being sworn in. Yeah, he's being sworn in the day TikTok is being banned in the US.
That's 19?
Yes, he's being sworn in on 20th, and then 19th is when
TikTok
should be
being
banned
officially.
But then I think the sad thing is he had issued a directive saying he'll keep it around when he gets into power. But then now the judges are rushing. I think because it's raising concerns because of security issues, because it's also owned by their nemesis, who is China. So the issue is about data. But I believe they're going to uphold it, or not to withhold it, because the biggest users of TikTok in the world are US citizens.
Really?
Yes, America has 170 million TikTok users. Yes, in the whole entire world.
Okay, I didn't know.
So if they ban, and they make a lot of money. In fact, I was reading an update here, Julia Chatterley or CNN still, they were having a discussion. They said they make up to $330 million in terms of payouts that go to TikTok users in US.
Wow.
Yes. So if it gets banned, I think it makes TikTok useless. If they ban instead,
quite a hit on TikTok, the company itself.
Yeah.
But whoa, but I feel like if Trump is bent on having it stay,
Yeah,
I think
definitely
it'll just still be back.
Yeah,
I think it'll just still be back one way or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to sample some of what has been happening in the news, in the dailies over the weekend, a lot has been happening. We're about to take you through that. Let me start with something, a post I'm seeing here. That is from 11th this month from our governor. So Governor Johnson Sakaja says parking is free on Saturdays in Nairobi. You can come to town, park your car and not pay anything. Previously, only Sundays were free, that's true, but we've adjusted this to include Saturdays. This ensures we maximize revenue collection during weekdays while giving Nairobians the chance to enjoy free parking over the weekends. Guys, so if you have a car, well, Saturday is also a day to go to town. Bila kusumbuliwa na kanjo.
But then why Saturday? Saturday is when most people are out of town because it's the weekend. But then I feel it's also good for the business community.
It is.
Because that's the time as well you receive some sort of relief from the payouts you do over the week.
Yeah, I also think that people, being a weekend, people also want to go for errands in town and stuff. So, so now that the parking will be free, it's more relaxed, and they'll be able to go. There's this particular incident we had when you don't pay your parking fees, where they come and clamp your car. It is terrible. So there's a day we were in town, because now in town you do not know. Okay, we did not know which areas are, because they are private areas, you don't have to pay parking, and then there kuna place ya kanjo. So we had gone with a few people, and now it was a hired car, so we had parked somewhere, Sedza Koinange Street over there. So tukawa tumeenda for some lunch, and then now when we came out, tukapata gari imekuwa clamped.
Yeah.
And then to get the kanjos, hey, but you do not want that in Nairobi, because now, you needed to have paid, and for you to get the car unclamped, you pay the fine, and it's a lot. So in Nairobi, wherever you walk, even outside town, you just need to make sure that your car is paid for. We avoid a lot of unnecessary things. I think it's a terrible experience to have to deal with kanjo, honestly.
But it's interesting because 90% of the working class people, maybe, they have cars. I don't know what it is with people who work in a 9 to 5. Actually, most of them are car owners. These small cars, then all the high end there.
Yeah.
So someone would prefer to get a loan, buy a car, to have easy access. Because I believe as well, at times when it's rainy and it's floody, even that car that you never respected and appreciated, it makes sense because, yes, the Jukes and the rest of the cars, it makes sense because you just, you deep dive in and you roll your windows up and you turn your aircon off and it rains while you go home within 30 minutes. As compared to somebody walking from, your workplace to this bus stop, wait for the bus stop, you've been rained. And so I think Nairobians have that thing of, if you get some money, buy yourself a car.
Buy yourself a car.
And that's where there's congestion everywhere.
Yeah.
But which is a good thing.
Yeah, I think cars are convenient. Even that joke you're saying, producer and Sama, shark was sink. It will still get you moving as long as you get to where you're going. And people have this tendency. I don't know why Kenyans have there's this behavior that Kenyans have. Kadoshan, when you don't have a car, when pedestrian, and then you see this Juke, Sama, Suzuki, the small sukas in a car, mkate. And then
sama unaweza inua
zipite
wawili muirukisha mtaro
ikataka kukupatia uvuke barabara. Utaanza kuitukana. Hata hii tunaweza beba, hiyo tunaweza fanyia nini? But you're working, guys. That Suzuki is, taking them places faster than the same way that the Mercedes will
better to have it than never.
Than not, And then there's also this, I think there's this poor man's mentality that people also have. let me just take this time to just speak it out. Niseme nitoke. Because you know, I remember, again, just from an incident here last week, now that we were talking about cars driving on Kenya and whatever. So we were coming from somewhere. It was on a Friday. Friday, it's usually packed, even at night. So, you know, when you up a town. So we were coming, and then I was someone driving a Subaru. Now people have a perception about people with Subaru. Jo ati watu wa Subaru, vichwa mbaya, wanapenda nini, you know, because when you think of Subaru, you think of the
thrills, you know.
Speed, you think of the speakers, but there are people who are driving Subarus and they are very calm, collected, hawana kelele. Yani hawana, so matatu, because when your gari zinashikana to everywhere, everyone wants to go, no one wants to wait. So the matatu scratches the car from behind.
Whoa.
The matatu leaves. Yani, you make scratch gari, but there is mama iseme upole, because it's not even a big thing. See, ijagonga, it's just like a scratch. Asimame aseme, oh, sorry, makosa ni yangu, can we talk? You know, you don't have to involve police in some matters. So the matatu ikaenda. So the person was mad. Ali jump, because it's very irresponsible and it's very rude for someone to do that. Akaenda, and then aka block the matatu, you know, hapo mbele, and it was around hapo Mudhurwa. So you understand that there are people.
There's usually a clash hapo.
There's usually
it's like there's traffic here, people first of all, and then now cars.
Now there are people. I don't call them idlers, but people are just there. But people are just there. So now they do not know the story. Story lianze huko. Sasi the matatu hepad akakuja akablock. So now because they do not know the story, the matatu driver came out very arrogant, and the driver of the car, of the Subaru, was telling him, apologize, say sorry, say sorry, because there's a scratch on my car. After the matatu guy was say, unaona wapi, na anasema unaona kala kwa hii chuma, but you know, ni matatu ni chuma, so you may not even see the color may scratch. It's a big
was
one.
it the Moina ones? These Embasavas?
No,
could be one of those.
5'8".
Okay.
It was a your route, the Jogo road. So so now it was a back and forth, and now the people who are there, because they have an opinion of Subarus, they decide to side with the matatu, when to a Subaru who was the victim in this case. Just because the people have a perception, so you're probably wrong because you are a Subaru guy, you drive the speed and stuff. So some people have to support mtu wetu because ni hustler or something, but if you don't really know the story, you can just come out and just I think that was really annoying for me. Nimesema nimenitoka, so we can move on from that.
It's crazy. Even when accidents happen between a personal car, private car, and a public service vehicle, people would always side with the public vehicle.
Exactly.
Not knowing that it was
even in the personal
vehicle.
car and piki, my goodness, what to undo the akis, ata atuna ubaya. We know we are hustlers, but it's usually very, you know, even if it most cases. Most cases utapata mtu andudhi yako in the wrong, but they will come and almost want to fight the driver. There's an instance where not personally, you know, they wanted to burn someone's car, and the wife was there, the children were there. They burned the car just because he hit to a bike, but to a bike was coming from the wrong side. He didn't see it. So it is wrong. You know, it's your person, it's your people, but do not do that to the innocent. You do not know. If you do not know the story, do not take sides. I think it's very unfortunate. We need to change that, because I call it a poor man's mentality, because ni wetu sasa tumsupport. But you know, sometimes we just we're in the position
they're on the wrong,
we're in the position that we're in because of how we think. So we need to change how we think for us to progress, you know, and stuff. Yeah.
And those incidents happen a lot on Thika Road. I've seen it in my own eyes, and even just, for example, you know, there's a place where I believe there's flyovers or footbridges, and a person crosses and then they intersect with a motorcycle and then a personal car. People would come straight to attack the person in the personal car. In fact, if you have something, gadgets, they'll go away with it. I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
They go with the gadgets, they pickpocket
you.
They break some of the indicator blinkers and even your side mirrors. Yes, it happens every day on Thika Road. So please observe traffic rules. Tafadhali.
Well, we need to do a lot of things on our Kenyan roads. Kwanza, even by traffic, due to tutamaliza lini, but a lot needs to be done, honestly. The chaos that's usually there. I remember in December going to Ucha when you're there, we have to sit down, plan for your travels before you leave. Because it's hours away. So the Nakuru Nairobi highway, we were caught in that traffic. Wow. It was something, it was terrible. And you find that the reason for the traffic, it's not even, it's accidents, yes, but small accidents that, you know, just I take a long time to get solved. But now the people overlapping is the main issue in such instances. Especially
at my Mashu side.
Hey, I don't mind. People overlap. So now, guys coming from this side, ata hakuna barabara for them. Now police need to come, and that's why people are stuck on the road for hours. I remember a friend, Mimi, Sisi, we were stuck for around same place, almost 2 hours, same position, same place.
So if you left the house 5, you were probably there till 7 p.m., 7 a.m.
5, yeah, we were almost, from 6, we got to Nakuru at almost, is it 12?
Wow.
We took such a long time.
Nakuru is usually a 2-hour plus.
Yeah. And a friend who came later left 9 p.m. got to, because he stays around Western, he was going to Western. So he got there at around 6, from 9 a.m. to 6. You can imagine that's a long time on the road just because of traffic. And it's just the overlapping. Something needs to be done on these roads because, hey, na kila mtu akienda home December. Even the flights were full.
Yeah,
I mean, it was crazy. Yeah. Hey, what were in the home January? We need to change the norm.
Go like a month before.
Yeah, for you to avoid all that.
A 45 minutes of a flight is 10,000. That was extreme.
Yeah, imagine. And they were packed. Some people couldn't get flights because everyone was going. Anyway.
But now you're back.
Now what amerudi? Kazi sasa.
I believe the fares are going to go low kiasi.
Now they're low. You know, because we are off peak. Even for those that want to do holiday destinations in December, everywhere in the world prices are on top.
Shot up.
They shoot. But from January to around just before Easter, because again from Easter the prices go up. So from January, February, March, you get some good fair prices. So when you wedding, do your weddings now.
Yeah,
it's a good time to go for honeymoon,
between Feb and
to get
March.
wedding venues.
Yeah.
So just planning accordingly. All right. Let me move to People Daily to sample what we have, and then I'll ask you, Sakwa, if you have anything on your end.
Okay.
So on the front page, we have from a village carpenter to KCSE star. Wow, that's quite something. So this is one of the candidates who sat for the exams and excelled in it. So we have Peter. So they say Peter had given up on his dream, being admitted to his dream school, until respite came his way 4 years ago. That is Peter James. Kanyongo's future seemed bleak, and unable to join secondary school due to financial constraints, he resigned himself to working at a nearby carpentry shop, performing menial tasks like painting and cleaning furniture. So, oh wow, it's quite something. He has a long story there. But his dream of joining was to join Muranga High School, and eventually he joined, and now he has excelled at his exams. He scored an A in the just released KCSE exams. I mean, that's quite a story.
Yeah.
I think it's, sometimes they say what delayed is not denied.
Yeah.
So I think a dream delayed is not denied. So for him, there's a time, and it should give someone hope out there. If you've not managed to get to school for one reason or the other, and you're smart. Because, for instance, for him, he knew he was smart. For someone to get A, you just don't get an A. It means you are consistent over the years.
Right.
So it's pain. But, I believe through hard work and him being very determined, not giving up on his dreams, he eventually got back to school, and now he's a champion, and he'll probably be going to his dream university. Yeah, that's amazing. The other story, still on the front page, why Muturi, that's Justin Muturi, is facing the door. Cabinet Secretary throws caution to the wind and launches a stinging attack on President Ruto over abductions of youths, enforced disappearances and killings. So this is coming from RCS. So I believe he's definitely set for some coalition, especially from leaders in government. So in rare media conference, usually careful former, and he's usually very careful, just as he has been described here, and he was the former Speaker of the National Assembly, so the people do know him. The usually careful former Attorney General criticizes state security apparatus over wave of kidnapping. So he's the CS of Public Service, and so they're saying this even as Muturi called on national debate or a forum for discussion on abductions and extrajudicial killings that has tainted the Kenya Kwanza administration in a bad light. Yesterday at a press briefing in Nairobi, the former AG sought to star got lost a bit. Sought to stir the political waters, and amid widespread speculation that he could have fallen out with the Kenya Kwanza leadership and was ostensibly on his way out. Oh, okay. So he has criticized the state security apparatus. That's quite bold of him. I remember the time when the president and some of the officials had gone to Western for the burial of National Speaker's late mother, and it was quite the coalition because, Kimani Ichung'wah, the majority leader, and some other leaders were coming at why am I forgetting his name? George Natembea, yeah. They came strongly at him, accusing him, of being, of perpetrating, I don't know how to put it in a very politically correct way. Yeah, during
his tenure.
Yeah.
In the Rift Valley region.
Yeah, so that was what they were accusing him of, and later on George Natembea came out and spoke against it and said he has served well during his time. Nothing of what has been accused was true, and he still called out the government on the matters of abduction. So now we are seeing Justin Muturi coming out again, not telling the government but the state apparatus, but we know that probably he'll receive some heat of some sorts. And finally, as I throw it to you, Sakwa, Gachagua launches new attack on former boss. I think we would never get the end of these attacks, honestly speaking. And I don't know when he popped back up, because there was a time when his wife said he had disappeared.
Yeah, actually, I'm still stuck on that.
Yeah, because I don't know when he came. I don't know if we were updated, were we?
Yeah, I think yesterday they were in Dandora. the press briefing that they gave against abduction, they were at a church in one of those places. Yeah.
Yeah. So I heard him speak, and he was coming at the president very strongly again, saying that he's the one who has sort of almost taught the youth on abusing him, because he's saying, according to the former deputy president, that it was the president that started abusing the former president Uhuru Kenyatta, abusing the opposition leader Raila Odinga, at that time. And he said he called Raila Odinga Mchawi, he called Uhuru Kenyatta I don't know what, and many other things. So he said that he's the one who started it, so he should not put youths, and he's accusing him directly through abduction and through killings, and that's very bold of him to speak. But he's clearly come out as someone who's not afraid. He speaks his mind. The former deputy president, every other time he gets a mic. So here they say, the former deputy president has accused President William Ruto of using his close allies to attack Kenyans who are opposed to his administration. He claimed it was hypocritical for Ruto to expect the youth to stop online attacks directed to his government, yet his men are setting the pace for insults in public spaces. Speaking of this, what Farah Maalim said in public, I mean, it is detestable. Honestly speaking, it is uncalled for. It is not leadership-like. I'm disappointed at such leadership, if that is the kind of leadership we have in Kenya, because the words that he is speaking, I cannot repeat them on air. It doesn't, you can't imagine a senator or someone from the US doing using such vulgar language to speak to the citizens, regardless of who you're speaking to. It's unfortunate that that's what we have.
It's bizarre, because I think he's the same legislator who made remarks during the Gen Z protest. I don't know if he said if he had a gun, or if he was in a position of interior, he would kill 5,000 Gen Zs instantly. He's the same person, and he's still in leadership, and it's warranting attention from the masses.
It's bad, because now what is it that he's doing? Because now when you speak that way, for leaders that are telling youths to stop the demonstrations, to stop the online, the online violence, how they call it, for them to say that and to talk like this, they're actually stirring up the anger.
They're actually triggering more criticism, online backlash.
Exactly.
Which is, I believe, something that this regime is going to face till their very end out of office. Public backlash on social media with Gen Zs, it's not going to die down anytime soon.
Hopefully.
It's not going to die down.
We hope not, because we want some change. The people want change. We don't want the same things over and over again, back and forth. So it's Gen Z, it's the leaders. We all get tired. People want to relax. The leaders want to relax. We want to just have.
But then the thing is, Steph, whenever these people open their mouth to speak on any platform, whatever they say warrants fire on X. Especially from Oscar Sudi, Kapsaret Member of Parliament. You remember the sentiments he shared the other day? He said, if I was, in fact, he said he thought that the president had nominated him to be cabinet for interior, right? And then he shockingly learned it's Kipchumba Murkomen. And then he says if he takes over that docket, he'll silence all Kenyans on social media, which is really so childish and just, sheepish, for such a leader to be in office and grab a microphone. But let me shock you. So national leader, assembly leader Kimani Ichung'wah says, quote unquote, whether you call me Ruto's wife or whatever name you want to call me, the fact remains that we all know President Ruto's wife, and that will also not make me stop dealing with those who want to be irresponsible or irresponsibly criticize the government. I will continue calling you out. I think it's, anyways, let's move away from that.
It's great something.
And this is said on a public microphone, and TV stations are there, and radio stations.
Oh my gosh.
And this is wild.
I think our leaders need to be taught PR. Like they honestly are in need. It's not a matter of this and that, but they need to be told how to address people. And you know, people have a naona nisiongee sana, but
and it's really interesting because these things are said, but you can't address them because they are injustices.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to protect some things, but I believe just for public opinion, because these are issues that Gen Zs are fighting, so
yeah,
it's public opinion,
and it's what people are saying out there. It's we just need to have a shift in how we operate, And I remember there's Pastor T, and Pastor T is one of the famous pastors in Kenya, and he was urging leaders to be careful on what they speak, on how they speak, because it really affects, it determines a lot of things, the outcomes of a lot of things. So what they say and how people take it and how they react to it might stir something that we do not want to see, So the speech is important. We can't overemphasize this. So whatever they speak, they really need to be, it has to be thought out well before it comes out of their mouth, because once it comes out, they can't take it back. Even if you say, oh, I didn't mean it like this is how I meant it, you took it like this, it has already been taken, and there's no other way that you can change it. So we just need to change absolutely how we speak as.
Yeah, but I'm also looking at it, I'm borrowing sentiments from one of the guests who was on one of the stations. I think it was Trevor's show, Trevor Mbijas. And I think she's a young lady who is a Christian leader. She was talking about when it comes to the things that were done on 25th of June and how the Gen Zs are trying to sustain their activism. Most of them are not going back to the streets again. So they shifted everything to the online spaces.
Yeah.
So they are trying to ask the leaders to be open to receive criticism. But then it was interesting, there's a place where she mentioned when they want to control and put the narrative and they don't feel supported, they blame the Gen Zs for being, negative and not saying the right things to them. But then when they are shooting and killing Gen Zs, while all media stations, BBC, CNN, even Y254 was there on ground, nobody said nothing till right now. So the lady was saying this is just the after effect of, bad incidents meted on citizens, and now they're reacting back because as we speak, I remember Mashirima Kapombe sat down with the current DP. It was a joint media address, and they asked, are you planning to compensate the people who were shot and killed? Are you planning to comfort the families? And he had no answers. But then I believe as time goes by, some of these issues are going to be carried. And shockingly, I think it was the International Criminal Court, I think Kenyans file a petition in bid to just seek justice. And this is the anger that I believe is warranting these caricatures and these AI memes that are being shared, and then people being abducted because they want to fight back.
Yeah, I don't know about these figures, because you've mentioned about Kenya writing to the International Criminal Court. So one of the online newspapers that I'll just mention, Pulse Kenya, wrote over 50,000 Kenyans have reportedly filed complaints against President William Ruto's administration to the International Criminal Court. Now, I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, it's true because Nation highlighted it on 10th. Their caption was, ICC alarmed as over 50,000 Kenyans file complaints against Ruto's government. Active investigation looms.
I think that should raise an alarm. If nothing, then that should raise an alarm, because imagine 50,000 Kenyans writing to the ICC. You have not written, I have not written, but 50,000 Kenyans.
Right.
You can imagine that might be some deep sort of discontentment, or people do not really have trust. It speaks of a lot of things that the administration need to sit down and understand. Where are the people coming from? Why is it that former leadership, former presidents nothing of this sort has been done before. Was it the first of demonstrations, the first of writing to the ICC? Because now people feel justice has not been done, because people have been killed in Kenya, people have been abducted, nothing is being done. So, and they do not have trust in the state security. Now they feel like the International Criminal Court need to intervene at this rate, because they feel like things are out of hand. So I think the state, the government really needs to take keen interest on this and figure out a way, because otherwise...
Which I believe they are not doing anytime soon. Anyways, Tanzanian activist Maria Sarungi was abducted in Kilimani, Nairobi, yesterday, and this brought attention of the LSK president and literally even the Law Society of Tanzania as well. And she was abducted, I believe, towards midday, and then she was released in the evening. And this story has also been highlighted by international media as we speak right now. So Tanzanian media expert and communications expert Maria Sarungi has been abducted in Kilimani. She's reported to have been taken forcefully by 3 armed men using a black Noah from Chaka Place on Sunday afternoon. And I remember LSK President Faith Odhiambo saying that at this point, they wrote a letter to IG Police Douglas Kanja. He was summoned to court, he never showed up. Even Director of Criminal Investigation as well, Admin, was summoned to court, especially to give explanation what happened to the abducted 7. The Bernard Kavulis, the Kibet Bull, I don't know if Kibet Bull's case was a little bit controversial. They said he staged his abduction. The other guy, Billy Mwangi from Meru, who was shaved, and plus many others who are still missing. And I think, like you've said, if it's warranting International Criminal Court intervention, then it means it's super intense to a point that it's beyond, because ICC deals with war crimes against humanity. I remember last year, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was summoned over such a similar issue as what we are facing right now. One of them was crimes against humanity, people being starved and people being tortured and others being killed. And, allegedly, even in this whole abduction case going on in Kenya, they're saying it's police. But then we've seen Martha Karua, Kalonzo Musyoka, and even Eugene Marlon, part of that section that looks like it's an opposition, section. They're saying, what, they know it's a terror squad from... I believe they mentioned 3 places, Ole Polo, Karen, and some other place. Yeah, so it's like these things are escalating. But then when you look at it, when the leaders get on platforms to speak, they terrorize people with, it's just explosive, sentiments that are being shared. And they come out defensive, Whenever everyone speaks, they're defending something that has iked Kenyans online. So, and then the AI images are now escalating as well. It's like the more they defend, the more the AI images, come into play. And I believe this year the AI images are going to be many, because this is the peak of artificial intelligence, 2025. So I believe they better be ready. But what I foresee is, I see a law. They're going to come up with laws that will regulate artificial intelligence, not even just in Kenya, internationally as well, even countries like the US, because I saw what Mark Zuckerberg is trying to do with AI. They're going to come up with universal laws of regulating AI. How can it not be harmful, and how can it be more useful? And how can it not, wipe out human, especially when it comes to now roles and responsibility for some of these fintech companies. So if only in Kenya it's just 3 memes being shared and people disappearing, I can only imagine by May of this year when there'll be more advancements of AI. So
it's quite something.
It's going to be interesting,
Yeah, with technology comes a lot, and the AI is, is advancing, just as you've said. So we're likely to see many things, and hopefully it could turn to be good things, if only we get a common ground, And we've talked a lot on it, so it's only a matter of the leaders hearing the people. And I think Kenya is a beautiful place. Kenya is a great country. People who go out and come, especially in Africa, we are one of the best, if not the best. I'd say Kenya, Nairobi is the #1 in Africa. There's a lot of things that this country has. If we can just explore those areas and empower the youth, I think would be so far. I was listening to, speaking of just helping the people, because one of the things that the people are suffering or complaining about are jobs, no job opportunities, a lot of corruption and stuff. If the leaders, someone was sharing, if the leaders came up with manifestos of creating financial literacy even amongst their constituents or in their county, then would be at a different place, because now people would be woke on where to invest their money. And there's some research, speaking of the new, being a new year and people have a lot of financial resolutions, there's a statistics that was done in one of the circles, and they found out that people save, especially women save in circles, and the owner of the circle was worried because they are not taking out their savings, like they're just saving, they're not taking out loans to invest and stuff. So they were just speaking of a culture of people save, but they do not know what to do with the money that they have saved. So we need to financial literacy, so people know where to put their money, how the money can work for them, so that we be empowered as a country, we be empowered even as a continent, because it's just not in Kenya, but it's in the whole of Africa. I
think that should be a good thing. But I understand as well, I think there's a training for I think state officers or civil servants, even including politicians who are in government right now, about artificial intelligence. They came up with I don't know if it's a docket or it's a mini forum where they're being trained on the latest trends of AI and how to use them and the ethics of it. So I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing. But what I know is the Gen Zs will really blow it up for them this year. So they better be ready because what's coming is interesting. And speaking of interesting, so hawkers in Nairobi CBD have been directed to vacate the main walkways. And they've been, I think Governor Sakaja said they should only operate in the CBD in the afternoon.
In the afternoon?
Yes. So, but then they're saying a public notice, that is the quote of the public office from Nairobi City Council, says that going forward, hawking of merchandise will only be allowed in the back street lanes from Mondays to Saturdays, only from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. So between now and for the better part of midday, there's no hawking. It's only allowed in back streets. And the designated back streets are within the zones of the Tomboya Street and Kirinyaga Road. So it's only specified places. And they're saying this will allow main streets and roads, i.e. Moi Avenue, Haile Selassie Avenue, Kenneth Matiba Road, Latema Road, Ronald Ngala, Mfangano Street, and Hakati Road and River Road, because they're usually congested. And then there's also muggings that happens. And then people as well just approach you with products and they shove it in your face. So to regulate that, I believe, But I believe it's a 50-50. It's sad for the hawkers, but that it's good for people that just want ease to navigate through the streets without, somebody bugging you. Oh, sister, ndoi carotini ya uso. Oh, at least you navigate freely in the streets.
But I know this might take time if it is to be implemented. It might take time because if the hawker is used to Moi Avenue, they will go to Moi Avenue and they will run when they see Kanjo. It's usually the how they operate usually, because when you walk in town, you will see, oh, Kanjo now wamewekanisha vitu zao, and how fast they do it, I've never understood. And you'd be buying something to shoot amesheka kila kitu in like 1 minute. Those guys
they receive signal from a mile away.
They need to, they have eyes out. So it's a skill I need to learn, being that fast. So that might take some time, but we'll see how that goes.
But I think it's going to be difficult because even the roadside sellers, who like you, the ones you said, who just plant, their business somewhere and they're selling socks, handkerchiefs and everything. I think they make money as well. And it earns them a living. But then for those who walk and, I think pedal and hog it via moving vehicles, I think that's what I believe needs to be contained. But those who settle in specific locations, I think they should be pardoned, especially for these essentials like nyanya, But then it's interesting, how do you sell
Nyanya
nyanya?
is essential.
Yeah, it's essential, but then peer location really matters, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So I think they should specify, is it for the ones who are moving with products on their backs, in their bags, or those who are roadside sellers stationed at specific parts? But then it's congestion. It's congestion. You know, they're trying to make Nairobi be the image of the international, you know, Nini you've always carry. Yeah, so I believe that's an incredible one, but a price has to be paid for it, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Both sides.
A price has to be paid. It may take time. We'll see. What do you think about it? Talk to us at YTFM channel. The hashtag is Why in the Morning. Yeah, so Sakwa will just put close on that there. But I'll give you time to remind them of what's coming up in your segment later on. Yeah. This has been just us updating you on what has been happening, a few banter here and there. Hope you have enjoyed it. We're going to take a short break right after this. Sakwa.
Yeah, at 9 a.m. we're talking about what next post KCSE, especially when it comes to finding your vision, your purpose. And if, I think the question is, KCSE results the final verdict of your future? There's life after KCSE, or even university does. If you get the lowest grade, is it the end of you, or there's hope after that? I think that's the question I'd like the guests to respond to, and you can stick around for the answer as well. But also, if you're watching and you completed high school, what was the grade you scored? Do you mind sharing with us? We'd love to celebrate with you, or to cry with you as well if you're crying, because I believe there's always a win and there's always a loss in both ways. So please share with us. But then, what plans do you also have post, KCSE? Yeah. Are you looking forward to join into a driving school? During our days, it was computer packages, which I never did. I just felt like it was overwhelming, yeah. But I had already done computer in high school, so there's no need. Are you going for the computer packages or coding? Coding now is a thing. Even we have, I think there's some mini international schools that are offering it even to kindergarten kids. Yeah, they're learning how to code as a basic. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So are you going for coding? Yes, or website development. Or driving. It's a good one here for Form 4 leavers to keep them busy. Get your DL very fast, yeah.
But you should do it too. And what you've said, there's a story, just being reminded before we close, of a dad who beat her daughter to death because of a D. What is a grade compared to someone's life? It's unfortunate that we value a grade so much, academic success so much. You might get an A and end up, people get A's and end up working for people who got E's, or people who have not even stepped to school. So it should not define you. Whatever you've gotten should not define you. If you feel like you're failed, you still have another chance. Some people usually want to go back to school and repeat, and it's okay for them. Some people repeat and it doesn't still work for them. It's still okay, whatever you have in your heart, or whatever your parents direct you to do, it's fine. You will still make it. There's a lot that you can do. There's talent, there's opportunities. God makes a way.
Works more than academic qualifications.
Talent and skills is amazing. So you don't know where you will end up. So yeah, make sure that you do not die. But by that I mean, do not lose hope. Keep on dreaming. You can be whatever you want to be. All right? We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
Y254. Imagine.
Commando, we assist into defense, commando, wapi assist Inakuwaje? Ni kila Jumatatu kutokea saa 1:05 hadi 3:30. Ndio unafahamu sisi ni makomando wa Afrika Mashariki ambao tunakupa kipindi chenye mapozi, tunatazama na mapozi ya kwako. Wanasema kwamba you can call me Kenny at JANUARY2025.
Wagwang, my name is DJ Kuch. Pale kwenye chiki na kupatia mziki zote za East Africa, old school, new school, zote ziko ndani. We can link up at DJ Kuch. Boom.
And of course with me, Kalondu Musimi, I'll be giving you all the entertaining stories in East Africa. Nitakuwa nikuambia nani amefanya nini, kwa nini na akiwa na nani.
Hatuagizi na mabosi, sisi wenyewe mabosi, wanatobea mikosi, tunalindwa na sabuni pekee. Kuimbie Bwana, mfalme wa mbinguni, nimbe na zaburi,
Our stories shape our future. It's within them that we get to know ourselves.
God always came through in a way that we couldn't even explain. And we came to realize that putting God at the center of it is like everything else will just flow.
Everything. What do you do when push comes to shove?
He was a great man. At that moment, he was supportive. Until 6 months, we went for the first surgery.
That's why here on The Nest, we tell you these stories to empower you and shape your parenting. Every Tuesday from 7:30 p.m. only on Y254.
Shining in the setting sun like a pearl upon the ocean. Come and feel me, oh feel me. Feelun hai peene ka mausam, tere sang ishq taari hai.
Chemi za uongo, stories za jabando tingize ubongo, ndo bebe kawalitikiza kamongo.
What's up everybody? Have you heard of Bounce Nation? We are the latest, most stand-up show in 254.
You know how we do each and every Tuesday, Thursday. Mad vibes, mad music. When you see this face, amazing vibes, pure niceness, mad music. Now always kumbuka wewe ndoko in full control.
I'm unavailable, they know they see me.
I go by the name Feeling Jean.
And I am the beat doctor DJ Epic, straight out of Gas Chamber DJs. You know how we do.
Of course, catch us every single Tuesday and Thursday from 4 p.m. all the way to 7 p.m. for mad energy, good vibes, and interviews and interactions with your favorite celebrities.
Here on Power Talk Show, we handle conversations of current affairs that directly affect you. We do a deep dive on conversations that involve relationships, mental health, finances, and other trending issues. We also share stories of people who have faced adversaries and managed to overcome them.
I'm a person who tried committing suicide 3 times. Yes, before I reached class 7.
Tune in to Power Talk each and every Thursday at 7:10 p.m. and join in the conversation with me, Cheryl Blessing, using the hashtag Power Talk.
It's art, it's culture, it's fun, it's attitude. We sample some of the best artistic works locally and beyond our borders. Oh, and don't get me started on the cultural events. Music, dance, fine arts, culinary arts, and much, much more. You name it, and we have got you covered. My name is Kevin Kasioki. Please join me each and every Friday at 8 p.m. only on Y254 channel.
JANUARY2025. Imagine.
A growing number of women and men of reproductive age wish to regulate their fertility and have fewer children. Between the ages of 20 and 44, a fertile, sexually active woman is potentially capable of giving birth about 12 times, even if she breastfeeds each baby for 1 year. To avoid the need of an unwanted pregnancy, she has to successfully practice birth control for 16 to 20 times of her roughly 25 childbearing years, hence the use of contraceptives.
Family planning is a method, is a contraceptive method that is used by people to either avoid getting pregnant or to space between pregnancies. So they can choose to either discontinue the family planning and get pregnant, or continue with them and avoid pregnancy at all.
Contraception is the intentional prevention of conception through the use of various devices, sexual practices, chemicals, drugs, or surgical procedures. Dr. Abdi Hakim Assad gives us insight into the world of contraceptives.
When someone comes to ask for family planning services, there's a lot of things they consider. If they want to get a baby soonest, or maybe after months, or even after some few years. If they don't want to get a baby at all, or if they want to get a child in the next maybe 5 or 10 years. So we don't only look at the safety protocol as per se, we look at what this person needs. There are some people who need family planning, but they don't want the partner to see it. So there are family planning methods that are hideable and some family planning methods that are not hideable. That's one criteria. There are some family planning methods that are not safe for a person to use, especially in pregnant and breastfeeding women. We don't give them oral contraceptive pills. We give them coils and etc. So when you're trying to use the family planning methods, we don't only look at the safety profile. Of course it's there, but we have different profiles that we look for the person to choose the best family planning method.
An effective contraception allows a physical relationship without fear of an unwanted pregnancy and ensures freedom to have children when desired.
Family planning has two major classifications. It can be either a long-term or a short-term. For the long term, we also call them permanent family planning methods. For the long term, there are also surgical methods. In men, vasectomy, which is cutting of the tubes that usually transport sperms from the testis to the penis or to the urethra. So the connection between the testis and the urethra is cut, and that is a permanent solution, and that is a permanent form of contraceptive in men. In females, the type of permanent contraceptive method we have is a cutting of the fallopian tubes or blocking them. The fallopian tubes is the passageway of the egg that is coming from the ovary to the uterus. So if you also cut the passageway, the sperms that are coming into this female will not get access to the eggs because they have to pass through the fallopian tube. And in these instances, we have cut the fallopian tube. So there is no way for the sperm to reach the ovum. So that's another permanent method of contraception. For the temporary ones, we also combine them into hormonal and non-hormonal methods. So for the hormonal methods, they contain hormones, as per the name says. The type of hormone they contain can either be estrogen, or it can be estrogen and progesterone combined. They're also classified into long-term and short-term. So for example, you've all heard of the pills, the family planning, the ones that usually are taken every day. Those ones are either progesterone-only pills, and also known as POPs, or combined oral contraceptive, which have both estrogen and progesterone, hence the name combined. So for them, they are temporary methods, and as long as you're taking the pills every day, you have a form of contraception. But once you discontinue taking the pills, your fertility returns. So that is the shortest ones that, as per duration concerns. Then the second temporary contraceptive method is called depo-amyle, the injection that the females usually get after every 3 months. So the depo contains progesterone only. It doesn't have both estrogen and progesterone. Then if you go higher in the timing ladder, we have implant, or we call it Implanon or Jadel, which gives you a contraceptive period of about 5 years. If you go higher in the family planning ladder in terms of timing, we also have the coils, IUCDs. For the coils, you have 2 types. You can either have a hormonal type, which has a hormone, or you have a non-hormonal type, it just has a copper coil. So those ones are inserted in through the cervix into the uterus, and they can give a hormonal contraceptive period of up to 10 years. So as I was saying earlier, the type of contraceptive that you are using will depend on how long you want the contraceptive.
The aim is to achieve contraception in maximum comfort and privacy with minimum cost and side effects.
The safety of family planning is well documented. It has complications, but the complications that you get from family planning are not major complications. For example, they include things such as excessive bleeding or having excessive menses. They can also include things as gaining weight. They include things as we call them thromboembolic events, but what they mean is clotting in different types, in different parts of the body. For example, if someone has a clot in the brain, that manifests as stroke. If someone has a clot in the heart, it manifests as MI or heart attack. If someone has a clot in the kidney, it leads to kidney failure. And if someone has a clot in the feet, it causes painful and swollen feet, which we call as DVT. But the safety is dependent on the type that you're using. For example, for the oral contraceptive pills, they give people those thromboembolic events, those thrombosis in different parts of the body. But things like progesterone-only pills, which are called POPs, they don't have those type of side effects. So I guess the type of side effects or complications or its safety, as per se, depends on the type of contraceptive or family planning that the person is using.
The ABC approach employs population-specific interventions that emphasize abstinence for youth and other unmarried persons, including delay of sexual debut, mutual faithfulness, and partner reduction for sexually active adults, and correct and consistent use of condoms by those whose behavior places them at risk for transmitting or becoming infected with HIV.
It depends. Are they sexually active or not? If they're sexually active and they're trying to avoid pregnancy, it is advisable. We usually had the acronym A, B, C. A, abstain, B, be faithful, C, condoms, and then now if that fails, you go for the contraception. So I'd advise youths to either abstain, be faithful, or use condoms. If all that is not in line with them, they can go for the contraceptive methods. So for the contraceptive methods, I'd still advise them not to go for the permanent ones, because those ones are non-reversible and you cannot just go back to your full fertility functioning. So if they are to choose the family planning methods, they should choose the temporary ones.
And finally, here the doctor's panting short.
For oral contraceptive pills, they have been found to reduce the risk of ovarian and uterine or endometrial cancers. So that is one of the when we are looking at family planning methods, they're usually contraceptive benefits and non-contraceptive benefits. These family planning methods are used to treat cases of abnormal uterine bleeding. If you must, use barrier methods, use condoms. If that doesn't work for you, you should try and consider the family planning methods so as to avoid unwanted pregnancies, because pregnancies come with a lot of responsibilities.
Y254. Imagine.
Hello, how are you? And welcome again to my Health Beat with Stephanie Ayeta. Stephanie Ayeta is my name, and on this channel we do great conversations. We engage different guests. We have patients, we have survivors, and we also have experts coming on to share their experiences and their knowledge on illnesses that are a burden to us. These are the chronic illnesses especially, and it is with a hope that we will inspire someone out there, will encourage someone out there, and will keep you informed on the different diseases that are there, how to manage them, how to treat them, and everything in between. So for today's interview, or today's conversation rather, I'm joined by one beautiful lady. Yes, she is, and this is oncology nurse Rose Wanjiru. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Yes, it's a pleasure to have you. So tell us, who's an oncology nurse for someone who's just hearing oncology for the first time?
Oncology is a big name. It's like that big name, just like what it caters for. So basically, oncology is all about cancer. And I think whenever I say about cancer, everybody shrinks, and you see the dips in their hearts. So I can also see your facial expression, like a wow. Yeah, but that's all about it. It's all about the prevention, the screening, the treatment, the palliative care that comes in end of life for our cancer patients. That is all about oncology. Yeah, so.
What inspired you, before we even get to all the information that's out there, but what inspired you to be an oncology nurse particularly?
I don't think I have such like a definite inspiration, but having worked in a hospital system, I work in Maragua Sub-County Hospital, it's in Murang'a, and for the longest time I've been working with the reproductive health unit, and it's an excitement, gives me the thrill working with reproductive health. But along the way, I would encounter clients who come and you screen them just on a routine basis, and you're like, oh, this looks like cervical cancer. And I'll be like, what else do I do for the patients? So I was like, I think I need to have more information on this, so that if I get to this point where I screen a patient like on a routine basis, I guess the suspicious masses, lesions, I'll be able to guide the patient through the treatment, through the diagnosis, and whatever else that comes with the whole baggage of cancer.
Okay.
So I think that was an inspiration. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. So it came from your background in the reproductive care. Okay. And let's talk about cancer now. What causes cancer? This big word that we usually hear and it scares us. Is there triggers, things that we're supposed to avoid so that we don't have cancer? Because I've heard of people, I've known people who have been very healthy, keeping a healthy lifestyle, yet they get cancer.
Cancer. What is cancer? Maybe we should actually start there. What is cancer? Cancer is just this one disease that will develop from maybe nowhere. Just like you said, you have people who have been healthy, doing all the norms that are laid, and pop, they're diagnosed with cancer. So cancer basically is a disease that is caused by abnormal accumulation of cells. So cells that have some defects, and then they grow, and they become this one big mass or this one big lesion, and the diagnosis ends up to be cancer. So according to the definition of maybe World Health Organization, it's just the abnormal growth of cells. Yeah, so I don't think there's a definite cause for cancer. And maybe it will come as research is ongoing. But there are things that are related to. Some may be genetic. We call them carcinogenic factors. Some may be genetic. Others may be external factors, meaning like our lifestyle, like you said, whatever we consume. Mostly we relate things like alcohol, smoking, radiation, the ultraviolet rays. All those are factors that can contribute. They are not definite. And also there are some infections, like for cervical cancer, we have infections with human papilloma virus, which is a definite cause for cervical cancer. So we cannot really come up with something that is definite, say like this is what really, yeah, it's a range of carcinogenic activities that cause cancer.
What are the main types of cancers that are there?
Cancer, for one, can affect each and every other part of the body. The only thing may be your nails and the hair because they're dead cells. So every other part of the body. We have two main categories of cancer. We have what we call solid tumors, and we have hematological tumors. Solid tumors are like the brain cancers, the lung cancers, and so on and so forth. For the hematological cancers, mostly they're the leukemias, the different types of leukemias, and maybe the lymphoids, the lymph nodes and all that. So basically the categories, and in terms of ranking, they are the cancers that are more dominant than others. According to Globocan, lung cancer takes the global lead of all cancers. Actually, it's the top.
Okay.
Yeah, lung cancer is the top, followed by other cancers. I won't mention them in a definite lineup, like from top to bottom, but lung cancer leads. There is the breast cancer, there's cervical cancer, there's prostate cancer, there's colorectal cancer. I think the five of them take the first five. In Kenya, you can get esophageal cancer that affects the esophagus. Yes. So those are the main, but each and every other body part can get cancer. You can get cancer of the tongue, cancer of the jaws, name it. Just tell me which part of the body and I'll tell you which cancer that comes with it.
All right. So how does someone know, you know, that this is a symptom of cancer? Does cancer come with symptoms? And, you know, what do you need to look out for just for you to be on a high alert?
I think that is one of the disadvantages of cancer. Because it comes with so many other symptoms that will be given different diagnoses before anybody thinks like, oh, this could be cancer. For example, like we just take like gastric cancer or stomach cancer.
Okay.
By the time the clinician makes a point to diagnose, well, this may be cancer, you'll have presented to the facility with hyperacidity, and you'll be telling me, you know, I went to this bash and we took a lot of liquor, that is high spirits and like a lot of spiced food. That is why I'm having the gastric irritation. And you know, I'll be like, oh, that is it. Take this. I give you something to stabilize that. And then the next time you come and you'll come with another excuse. So by the time you're like, oh, this is like, this could be something else. Maybe it's already advanced. And that is why you find like most of the cancers, we get them at an advanced stage because they mimic many other diseases. For example, lung cancer. It's cold. Everybody is having a flu. Everybody is coughing around. So you'll come to the facility and I'm like, Rose, oh, I'm having this cough. And I'm like, yes, some antibiotics and all that.
Cough
the
syrup.
cough syrup. And the cough will subside. And the next time it comes, you'll be like, oh, the cough has persisted for 2 weeks. Oh, it could be TB. So we start the... So by the time we're thinking that it could be lung cancer, it is already advanced. So there is no definite signs and symptoms. That is why we are calling upon the medical personnel to be a bit more vigilant when they are doing their diagnosis. Let it not be like, let cancer also come among the very first diagnosis that you make. Anything you see, don't leave in any loophole at any one point. It should be at the back of your mind running like, it could be cancer after all. It could be pneumonia, but still it could be cancer. It could be peptic ulcer, but still it could be gastric cancer. Yeah.
Tell us about the different stages of diagnosis for cancer, because sometimes you hear someone was diagnosed with stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. And what does these stages mean?
Okay, basically the stages are the, will I say the disease progress? Yeah, and actually you have the precancer stage, whereby you have the cells that are not active. And then we have stage 1, means that mostly the cancer is confined within a certain region. It has not spread to any other part. So if it is like, for example, the breast cancer, it is just confined to the breast, and it's maybe the size is smaller, the lump is smaller, or it's a lesion. The lesion is small in size. It's confined to that particular organ.
Okay.
So we go to stage 2. Stage 2, mostly we can start talking about a larger size and starting to take more space. Like the lump is becoming big, so it's maybe infiltrating to other organs that are surrounding. Yeah. Then you go to stage 3. It has already maybe moved from the breast to the lymph nodes. So there is inclusion of another organ. And then you go to stage 4, it has basically gone to many other organs. That is basically the staging. Yeah.
And so it is easier to treat it when it's still in the early stages, right?
Oh yes, actually the precancer stage and the first stage, it is curable. Yeah.
All right, is it curable when you talk about when someone is in stage 4 for any type of cancer? What are the chances?
Stage 4. I wouldn't give much hope about cure. I think the management for a stage 4 patient would be more of palliative, meaning like the cancer spread to different parts of the body, maybe from the breast to the lungs to the spinal cord. So there's no definite cure for it. The only thing would be palliation. You do palliative care, whereby you try to alleviate the pain, the symptoms that are accompanied by the disease, and maybe the symptoms that are accompanied by the treatment modalities. But for stage 1, we've said the lump is a bit smaller, the lesion is a bit smaller, it's confined to one place. So we are more particularly, we know what we want. It's like definitely we know this is where we are going, and this is what we are going for. So we can be able to extract it from that place and maybe prevent it from spreading to other places. So for stage 1 and maybe part of stage 2, we can talk of curative as aim or the goal. Stage 3, stage 4,
palliative
care.
Yeah, okay. All right, I think that's fair enough. What about I was told the last interview we had on cancer, we were talking to a survivor of cervical cancer, and she mentioned something that cervical cancer, prostate cancer, and the other one I'm forgetting,
colorectal cancer.
Yes, that one. Those are some of the mostly stigmatized type of cancers. So why is this the case?
Generally, cancer comes with a lot of stigma. It doesn't matter what it is. When somebody is diagnosed with cancer, everybody will be talking behind your back. So the stigma is so high, just to put it across. But when you talk about cervical cancer, breast cancer, cervical cancer, colorectal cancer, and prostate cancer, all that have one thing in common: reproductive system, and maybe the modalities of transmission. When we talk about the privacy of our bodies, when you talk about reproductive system, it's something that you don't want to go shouting about. It's very true. You don't want to go like telling everybody, oh, I'm having some discharge, oh, I'm not able to perform sexually, oh, my I don't want to use the crude words.
Trying to
I don't want to use the crude words, but yeah, I'm having some smell that is coming from my anal region. I'm having some discharge. Everybody will be like, tell me that you're having some discharge in your cervical region or your private parts. I'll be like, hey, Ayeta, what type of a lifestyle are you living?
So people judge you from that.
And that is where the stigma comes in from. Actually, for colorectal cancer, most of the young generation are coming up with colorectal cancer.
These are young people.
These are young people. And basically it's because of the modalities of transmission. Colorectal cancer is more sexual, yeah. So when we go about talking about the LGBT, the gayism and all that, yeah, so it comes...
It increases the risk of getting colorectal cancer.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, one of the causative, or one of the causative features of colorectal cancer is HPV, human papilloma virus, which is also related to, actually it's the only infection that causes cervical cancer. And cervical cancer is more sexually transmitted at a very high percentage, though you can get the HPV from many other surface areas, but mostly it is sexually transmitted.
Okay.
Talk about prostate cancer. Who wants to come and tell us that already they're having erectile dysfunction?
That is because of the treatment?
No, because of the disease. Yeah. Who will want to come to tell us that, you know what, I'm not able to go pee, it's painful, I'm having discharge in my penile. You see, that is where the stigma comes in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's why they're usually, at least viewed as some of the stigma, mostly stigmatized.
Yeah.
So what are the treatment? Let's start with the treatment, and then we go to the management of cancer, the general one, or maybe even you can highlight for some of the common ones.
I think we can join the treatment and the management as one.
Okay.
So basically treatment, we take two main goals, either palliative or curative. So whatever else we are talking about treatment in cancer, our aim is either to cure or to give palliative care.
Okay.
So, and for almost all the cancers, they take along the similar paths of treatment, which we have surgery, we have chemotherapy, we have radiation therapy, we have targeted therapy, we have biotherapy, we have transplant. So it basically depends at what stage of life or at what stage of disease are you in, and what is our aim when you're giving you the management. And the management, and we've said our aim is basically determined by the staging. So if you're stage 1 and stage 2, we'll be looking more so at curative. So if you're doing surgery, our aim still is on curative part of it. If it's chemotherapy, our aim is curative. When you talk about surgery is when we want to remove that particular lump or mass or tumor.
So that's why, for most cases of breast cancer, when it's identified early, then we usually have mastectomy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we want to remove the tumor, and then we can, on top of surgery, we can either do radiation, meaning that any other cells that have been left out when you are doing the surgery will be destroyed by the radiation. We can decide also to do chemotherapy. We call them as adjuvants or neoadjuvants or whatever it is. So we can decide to give surgery, then we combine with chemotherapy. So meaning that we've extracted the tumor. We've extracted the tumor, but we don't want to leave any chances that there might be one cell that we didn't get.
Okay.
So we are trying to hit it with the chemotherapy. The same for leukemias, we do transplants, whereby we go and there's blood exchange, just to put it in layman's. So if we are trying to transplant where the blood where the blood is made. Let me just use that.
Okay.
So we change. Mine is not cancerless, yours is cancerless, so we just exchange, do an exchange.
Ah,
Yeah.
so you exchange or you remove the cancerous one as you put in there?
You cannot be able to remove. You're trying to change, to implant, to give you new cells that are not cancerous as we take out the cancerous cells.
So the cancerous one is taken?
Yes.
And then the blood goes back. You know, you get your blood back.
No, you do. Somebody donates. It's a transplant. That is why you hear people going to India for transplants. Yeah, basically that.
Okay, but I've never had, you know, with the blood, I've never really understood how
it works. What happens? We have something we call stem cells. Stem cells is where the blood, the red blood cells, the platelets, the what, it's basically in the bone marrow. So this is where all the cells are made.
Okay.
So those cells are already, the cells are already destroyed. All the cells have the cancer cells in it. So even if they make new cells, still the cells will
come out cancerous. So you need
to
transplant the
bone marrow.
marrow.
Transplant the bone marrow so that you can get something that is not having the cells, the abnormal cells.
Okay. What's the difference between radiotherapy and chemotherapy?
Okay. Chemotherapy is systemic drugs. Drugs that either we do infusions or you swallow. So ni kama 2 tablets. Yeah, but they're very toxic. It's just like the way you're given, you go to the hospital and you get an intravenous drug for your pneumonia or something like that. So basically, chemotherapy is systemic, like you swallow, so it spreads to the whole body. Radiotherapy is not systemic. It is, first it's external, it's a radiation. Yeah, it's a radiation, and we target that particular region. So we spare the other parts of the body. If it is the breast, our main target will be the chest region. Yeah, and actually, like if you go to a place like KU, we have a new machine. We have a cyber knife, which is more specific. What we have in KNH is, or maybe in most of the facilities, will give radiation to the whole chest region for the breast. You're not able to really control. You get it. But we have a new machine in KU where we are trying to really target the specific region that was affected. Yeah. So that is basically the difference between chemo and
radiotherapy.
Yeah. But they're both used for the same purpose: curative, palliative.
Okay. Let me ask for a specific type of cancer. For prostate cancer, there are some who go for chemotherapy and all that, but there are some are on a particular medication and an injection called Zoladex, and that goes on for some time. So what kind of treatment is that?
So we've said we've got different types of treatment, and you said we talked about biotherapy, there is immunotherapy, there is actually even the hormonal therapy. So Zoladex is among the others that is not chemotherapy. So it just assists in your system it helps that the prostate does not enlarge. Yeah, it's just one type of a modality.
Okay.
Yeah. You go for like breast cancer, we have tamoxifen. Yeah. Yeah.
So the other type of treatments that are there, so there are many types of treatments according to one's particular condition, the level that they're in. What about now the management of a patient who has cancer? Now, for most diseases, for other diseases, even chronic diseases like, let's say, kidney failure, one would be told, do not eat this, do not do this, do not, there's some lifestyle changes. With diabetes, of course, there's some lifestyle changes. What about cancer?
The management of cancer is a bit complex. Yeah, more so when we initiate treatment. Like when a patient is going through chemotherapy.
Yeah.
Most of the people say like, oh, when I got my chemotherapy, I became even worse. I deteriorated. I don't know if you've heard such stories.
Yes.
So we are a bit more specific on whatever type of management the patient is on. So we advise on nutrition, general nutrition. Like we should endorse a general nutritious diet. And like for chemotherapy, it really affects the bone marrow, because chemotherapy does not differentiate between the cancerous cells and the
non-cancerous ones.
The non-cancerous cells. So it destroys basically all the cells, and we've said it's systemic. That is why we have alopecia. Somebody is being treated for gastric cancer and nywele imeanguka, because it's systemic. It's affecting all the cells in the body. So when maybe it hits the bone marrow, the immunity of the patients go low. So we advise the patients, the hemoglobin, the level of the blood goes low. The patient is prone to infections. The patient is fatigued because of the chemotherapy. You know, when you get maybe the red blood cells are hit and destroyed. So the oxygen levels, the capacity, it's the red blood cells that transport the oxygen. So the capacity to transport the oxygen is diminished. The patient will be fatigued. The patient will be pale. The patient will be having difficulty in breathing at one point. So we actually advise the patients to really take very healthy diet, more so that will boost the immunity. And actually that is why we give the 21 days from one cycle of chemo to the next cycle of chemo, so that the body can be able to replenish itself.
So there's usually 21
days. Yeah,
days
there's a 21 days
sort of rest.
You rest.
Okay.
So that your body will be able to replenish and actually you'll be able to withstand the next cycle
of treatment.
Yeah,
that
you should avoid taking alcohol. You should avoid smoking. You should actually avoid during that phase whereby your immunity is a bit low. You should avoid going to the crowded places. Actually,
you're prone to infections.
Yeah, you're
and
prone
a
to
lot of things.
infections and all that. You should even limit the number of people who are coming to visit you. Now, Kenya is our business, and visiting the sick is part of what we
our
do.
business, yes.
Kabisa, so actually you should limit the number of people who come to visit you, because they'll come with a flu that is not even active in me. I have a virus that is not active in me.
But to you it will be very strong.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we are a bit cautious about the patient, most when they're going through chemotherapy and radiation. We said radiation also, it hits the blood cells, because we cannot be able to shield wholly when you're administering radiation. So at one point, it will be able to reach the bone marrow, hit the cells, the blood cells, the immunity, the fatigue. So we advise on a lot of rest for the patient, a lot of rehydration, and a lot of moral support.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think moral support is key, but
Moral
we'll get there.
support is key.
Yeah. So you've talked about radiation and the new equipment that's there in KU. So let me ask you, what are some of the advancements in the palliative care sector? And do we have new research in the treatment of cancer that's better?
Palliative care. Let's start with palliative care. Palliative care is a holistic, holistic management of patients, and it's not only for the cancerous patients. Palliative care starts at the point of diagnosis. When I am diagnosed with a chronic illness, that is where the palliative care team comes in. And for Kenya, we have a strong palliative care, but maybe not widely spread. So it's not reachable maybe for all the patients. But yes, palliative care is available for patients. And I can say maybe it's a bit overwhelmed because, because for example, I talk about my own county where I work. We only have one palliative care unit.
That's Murang'a.
That's Murang'a. Maybe with one staff. And you can imagine that staff is supposed to be catering for all the patients within Murang'a County with chronic illnesses, cancer being part of it. Yeah?
It's not just cancer, it's all the chronic illnesses.
Diabetic, traumas, anything that will make your life destabilized at the point of diagnosis. Yeah, it needs palliative care. So we're not yet there. We are somewhere, but you're not yet there.
Not yet there.
And not maybe close to there.
A lot needs to be done still.
A lot. Palliative care is what caters for the pain, the cancerous pain. Are there drugs that are available? It's a question I'm asking. It's not a point that I'm putting across.
Okay.
Do you have accessibility to those drugs? Are all the patients able to access the drugs when they need the drugs?
When they need
the drugs. Because you give me drugs today and yesterday I was in so much pain and I got some other drugs somewhere else. You're not really. And also the supply. How is the supply of the drugs? Is it all through? Is it affordable? So there's so many other things. But yes, there is palliative care. It is there in facilities, but still we need to, the government,
let me talk to them.
Yeah, let me
talk to them.
Yeah, let me talk to them because we really need to upgrade. And not that the burden of, let me talk about cancer is becoming so huge. Right, left and center, diagnoses are being made daily. We need a really strong palliative care system.
Okay, all right. Do we have new research in cancer treatments?
I think research is there every other day. Even if we take your phone and Google now, there's something that is current that I didn't know yesterday. So yes, there is research. Actually, there is something they are doing on the genetics. Like they're able to get the particular gene from your body that is causing the cancer, and they are able to hit it. Like whatever treatment modalities that are coming are specific to that particular gene. So like we say for colorectal cancer, there is gene mutation for RAS. So they're getting the RAS and they're hitting it like particularly that one. So yes, there is research and it's ongoing. I think currently everything else and everyone else is talking about cancer. Everywhere. Name it. Maybe, no, not in Kenya, but yes.
You're not
there yet, but we hope to be there. So, but research is ongoing. Whatever is happening in the advanced world is great. The support system is great. The treatment that they are using, they're using more current treatment than us. So yes, research is ongoing, and we're hoping we get a breakthrough to it.
Okay, so we have something to be hopeful about.
Yeah, we have.
At the end of the day.
Oh yes, please.
Okay, great. So let's go back to the patient. You know, what does the diagnosis of cancer do to the patient and to the family? You know, psychologically, how does it affect them, and what should be done?
Diagnosis, just like any other diagnosis, it is, do I call it traumatizing? Do I call it heartbreaking? I don't have an actual word to use. I can't describe it. It is shattering. When you sit there and you have the results and you're breaking the news to the patient, I think you can see the patient disintegrate holistically, sink deep, lost, confused, name it. So it is a hit. It's a hit on the emotional part of it. And the worst part is actually the journey from diagnosis to the treatment and management journey.
Yeah.
It is psychologically draining, emotionally draining,
financially draining.
Let's not even talk about the financial part of it. It is terrible. It is actually, I don't have the right words.
Okay.
I don't have the right words because it is there.
Yeah, it's a very hard moment for the patient.
You're just there with the patients and you don't have the right words even to explain the journey that is ahead. You can only but think of what is there. The side effects that come from treatment, the number of days in hospitals, the days that you're not even able to move your body, or you know, you can't do anything for yourself. Everything. The holistic change of our lifestyle. Holistic change of our lifestyle. Because everything you've been doing everything for yourself, then you need somebody to be taking you to the washroom, somebody to be assisting you in feeding, somebody to be accompanying you to the facilities.
It gets to that point, and it gets bad, but there's still hope, you know.
There's still hope. That is why we're here.
That is why hope. Yeah. It can still be cured. It can still be managed, and life can be better.
Early diagnosis, prompt treatment. That is what I advocate for each and every other day, and that is why I'm here today. Like, let us go for screening so that we can get this cancer ternary stage. Take yourself for the checkups. If you have anything that, trust your trust your instincts. Let them be wrong, but trust them. Like, it could be cancer. Let me go get that screening, so that we capture it at ternary stage. We start management and treatment at ternary stage, and we go into remission. Yeah, we've seen people who have gone to remission and lived so many years after that. So there's a lot of hope.
Okay, great. It's good to hear that. Do we have the support for this, to give information to the patient once they're diagnosed? You know, to tell them that this is how the journey will be like. This is the kind of, you know, side effects that you're going to have. But you know, just to encourage them and to prepare them psychologically.
Yes. We have a team. We have a team that we call the navigation team. The navigation team will take you through the diagnosis, it will take you through the management, it will take you through the financial impact, it will assist you if you don't have like insurance, NHIF, whatever it is. It will guide you, maybe advise you on that. It will actually link you to the palliative units where you get support groups. Yes.
And is it there in all hospitals, or how do patients?
It's not there in all hospitals. Actually, it's not there in most hospitals. Yeah, you get them in maybe hospitals where you have oncology units or cancer centers. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a shortage of staffs in the other facilities. Not many people are trained on oncology matters. So not even many people know how to pass the information. So there are a lot of gaps. Mostly in facilities where you don't have cancer units. And how many cancer units do we have in Kenya to start there? So the gap is huge.
Okay.
But for us well trained, we can navigate you through that. Yeah.
How many cancer units do we have in Kenya, now that you've mentioned it?
How many do you know? Can we start from there?
I know KU.
Yeah.
I know Nairobi Hospital.
How many people can afford Nairobi Hospital? Okay, go on.
Not many. That's a private one. So we talk about public.
We talk about what is accessible to you and me.
There are not many.
Yeah, we have some.
The Texas Cancer Center.
It's private.
That's private also. Wow.
The Aga Khan, it's private. You want us to exhaust the private ones?
Let's
There's
leave
the
that
avenue. So when you go to the government, we have like the KNH, it's parastatal, KU is parastatal. I think those are the big ones, the main ones. So we have one in Nyeri that is not free-fledged because it doesn't have radiation. It just does chemotherapy. We go to Nakuru. Nakuru they have a nice cancer center. They actually have the radiation. We go to Garissa. We have one. We go to MTRH.
And
Eldoret. Yeah. Those are the main ones. Maybe the others that are upcoming, like not fully pledged. When I say fully pledged, like they have both radiation and chemotherapy.
Okay, so a lot still needs to be done. The government still needs to do a lot.
Actually, a lot.
What about the insurance? And now we're moving to shift. You know, so how is that coming in to help?
The insurance. Let's talk of what we have now, because we still have the backs and forths of.
Yeah.
So for the NHIF, it caters for part of it. go for something we call brachytherapy. This is radiation, internal radiation for cervical cancer. Per session, it's around 45,000. NHIF will just cater for 2 of them. You need 3 sessions.
Wow, for 45,000 you need
go
to
for
get
radiation, you get appointed and the patient has reported the insurance. So the financial burden is there. I don't know for the other insurances, because maybe I haven't talked with them so much, yeah? But I know not most of the insurances cater for cancer.
Yeah.
And if they do, they have a seal. Like this is the maximum you can use.
Okay.
How much do you use for chemotherapy? A dime. A dime. You just like go for 3-4 sessions and you're done. What else is needed apart from chemotherapy? You have to do some lab works, you have to do some imagings. So, and
There's
it's
a
okay.
lot.
It's hard. Also, there's a huge gap.
Okay.
There's a huge gap actually. Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest burden of cancer, even as we come to a close on this conversation? From everything that you've said, the gaps that are there, you know, to the patient, to in the government, what needs to be done. What would you say, looking at it holistically, what would you say is the biggest burden of cancer?
The biggest burden will be the number of incidences that have been diagnosed, or number of new cases that have been diagnosed on daily basis, and they're being pushed to a system that is already not operational, or a system that is already strained. Personally, at our place, we refer all the patients to KNH from Muranga, the whole of the county. Nyeri County radiation to Muranga, to KNH. So already the system is constrained, and still their diagnosis is right, left, and center. The diagnoses are so high, the incidence rates are so high. So there's a burden on the health system. There's a burden on the health system. I keep on saying, I wish the government would put on so much resources like they did for the HIV. There was a time HIV was that monster in the house.
Yes, yes.
Right now, we rarely talk about HIV. Partners have come that you are able to even reach the patients who are at home. The patients can be able to access medicine or medications or services for free from the comprehensive care centers. I think that is where we should turn, so that we can be able maybe to ease the burden, to be able to curb the cases, be able to reach out to as many people, let the people know that there is hope. So advocacy, partnership, let everybody, let all the stakeholders come on board, because the system is trained with cancer. Leave alone the other comorbidities that come with cancer. Leave alone that you come with a lesion and the lesion will turn out to be cancerous at one point, but it was just a wound from nowhere. So the system, the burden is so huge. The gap in the medical field, how many people are trained? How many people have the knowledge? So it is an all round. It's all round.
Okay.
It's all round. So in terms of the resources, we've talked about the emotional support for the patients. What are we doing for the patients that are at home, just doing the palliative? There's nothing. All the patients who have transited from palliative to hospice, like this is where we come to an end with treatment. So we now get into hospice.
What is a hospice?
Oh, we didn't talk about hospice.
Yes.
Okay, hospice is just a support system for patients after everything that is medical has reached its limits. So the only other thing we do is maybe support the patient, we manage the pain, we rehydrate, nutrition, emotional support. Like there's nothing else medically that can be done for that. We've given everything that is available. We've exhausted. But I try once in a while. Rose, the oncology nurse, you'll get some information about cancer there. And by the end of it all, tujipende. Go for screening, change your lifestyle. And if you know somebody in your family who has cancer, let us support them. Let us let us be there for them. It is all about us as a family, us as a community, us as a society, so that we can be able to win this battle of cancer.
Together
as
awesome.
one.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. Thank you very much once again. So that has been oncology nurse Rose Wanjiru, and I know you've loved her from how she explains it, and she has such a passion to educate and just create the awareness out there on cancer and prevention, as she has said. What have you taken from this discussion? Talk to us, tell us something. You can get us on social media. Get me on my page at Stephanie Ayeta across all social media handles. But if you have a story that you want to share or anything, then go to our email at myhealthbeatke@gmail.com. So we'll meet you next time, same place. Until then, let's keep it locked at My Health Beats. Adios.
Y254. Imagine.
Comando,
Inakuwaje? Ni kila Jumatatu kutokea saa 1:05 hadi 3:30. Ndio unafahamu sisi ni makomando wa Afrika Mashariki ambao tunakupa kipindi chenye mapozi, unatazama na mapozi ya kwako. Wanasema kwamba you can call me Kenny at Kenrelby.
Wagwang, my name is DJ Kuch, pale kwenye chiki na kupatia mziki zote za East Africa, old school, new school, zote ziko ndani. You can link up at DJ Kuch. Boom.
And of course with me, Kalondu Musimi, I'll be giving you all the entertaining stories in East Africa. Nitakuwa nikuambia nani amefanya nini, kwa nini na akiwa na nani.
Hatuagizi na mabosi, sisi wenyewe mabosi, wanatobea mikosi, tunalindwa na sabuni pekee.
Y254. Imagine.
Absolutely. Thank you for staying with us. Karibu sana. Good morning to you. If you're just tuning in right about now, if you have no idea, this is hashtag Y in the morning. You can always find us on digital at Y254 channel _ on the gram, verified with the blue check mark. And personally, mine is Brian Sakwanwan today. This is my first live interview of 2025, and I'm so excited, so elated to be right here. But we've asked you an interesting question on our digital before I actually just introduce my guests who are live with me right here in the studio. How do you find vision and purpose now that we're just in the breadth of KCSE results that were released last week by Education Cabinet Secretary, that is Mr. Julius Ogamba Migos, right? Hopefully I got it right, yeah? So we are asking you as a learner, as a Gen Z who's completed or finished high school, how do you find purpose and vision? But then the question again is, we are actually trying to talk about it with my co-host. What next after KCSE? Does the grade or the results you got really matter? Is it the final verdict for your future? And that is the conversation we're actually going to delve into. And today, I'm being joined live in the studio by professionals. They are teachers. Immediate next to me is Mr. Oliver Matara. He's a teacher at Kirangari Boys High School as well, alongside his counterpart, Pascal Ainer. He's a teacher of physics and mathematics, very important subjects. So if you see yourself in mathematics and physics, you see Teacher Pascal right here. Nice to meet you, gentlemen. Good morning. Karibuni sana. Yeah, so I'm going to start off with you, Teacher Oliver. In the breadth of these results that have been released, yeah, there's those who got maybe results that they expected, there's those who got that they never expected. But then the thing is, I think this year it has posted as, I'd say, stellar performances. The main grade, I've seen the main grade is C+. To join, the counting grade is C+, which is a good thing, meaning that, you know, this year there'll be more higher learning, you know, students joining up the higher learning facilities, and that is an impressive thing. I don't know, what is your reaction to that before we get into the nitty-gritties?
Sure. I wish to say that the performance was truly stellar, a bit of an improvement compared to the previous years. I mean, compared to the previous year. And as noted, when the results were being released by the Cabinet Secretary,
right,
there was a lot of jubilation and joy after it had been posted that the students' performance was higher compared to the other one. Even according to the numbers, we noted that the numbers were higher. Therefore, that one simply tells us that at higher education, those students who will pursue the higher education at higher education level, they will be larger. The number will be larger.
Right.
So I was equally impressed. I know the performance keeps on changing. Maybe this year it may be different from the previous year, and so on. So for me, I believe that the students just gave in their best, and therefore those who merited or they scored the quality grades that would necessitate them to
join
acquire
higher learning
to join
institution.
higher institutions. So
right.
that's what I can say.
All right, Teacher Pascal.
Yes.
What do you think of this year's results?
My thoughts exactly are that performance varies each year, and performance being an effect of a cause. It's what I mean is that it has several factors that bring it to be. So each year the performance will be different from the other years because there are different courses. We are looking at different learners and a different type of exam. So the performance mostly will vary, but we always want it to vary positively. And this year that happened, and I think it's exciting to look at that. But I would love us to think of it as something that is caused by various things. So as we celebrate, as educators, we look at the factors behind it, because we want to change it for the better. We must understand the factors.
Yeah. Yes. I don't know who is it, the examiners or the examination markers who mark the exams, but anyways, I think that's an issue we can delve into it later on. Back to the conversation, finding purpose after, you know, sitting for your KCSE examinations. Does the grade really matter? Does it determine what you pursue thereafter? Does it also determine how your life and your career path will be, the grade you got at KCSE?
Grading is meant to allocate. It's meant to allocate in the sense that it partitions up the learner body. Like we had a number of students who did this exam, and the opportunities are somewhat limited. Looking at Kenya, we can't all be doctors or engineers. So the exam works as a throttle to churn out people into different directions. This is a way government uses to place individuals.
Right.
But at the individual point as a person, you can either go the way the government has directed or choose another path. To answer your question, yes, it determines your path, but not completely. Not completely, in the sense that the first 6 grades from A to C+ are assigned university. Then the rest, TVET, then vocational training, and some other things that you might choose to do as a person. This is what the government provides. But as an individual, I can choose to go against it and find another way, maybe following passion or something like that.
Yeah. Yes. Because we also live in an era where I believe as time goes by, academic qualifications, or I'd say success, won't really matter a lot because of technology and how times are changing. But I believe academic papers really matter, especially now when it comes to now expertise, knowledge, and whatnot. And before I get to you, Oliver, before you react in the same, do you believe as well teachers play a huge role in determining the course and the direction of the next life of this person who has sat for the KCSE examination, in terms of now choosing the career, especially while they're at school? And off the air, I was telling you guys, personally, I believe teachers determined a lot of what I am right now till today. And I still give credit, and forever I'll still give credit. And how how voices of parents matter in terms of now, I'll say, shaping and cultivating the profession that this child pursues, whether it's a profession of their choice or a profession that, you know, the parent wants, and now you can combine mindsets, brainstorm with the teacher, the learner, and then the guardian. How important is it?
I think a teacher plays an important role, but not as huge as the parent, but we do play a very important role. I spend most of my time with teenagers, and I will tell you that teenagers have a voice, but their voice is shaky. Shaky in the sense that they are young.
Right.
Now, life places a responsibility on them to make very major choices when they are still children.
Yeah.
Like career choices, and it is a big choice, but then they are still underage, so to speak, not yet 18. They don't know what it means to be in these careers. So a teacher comes in now to guide, tenderly, tenderly guiding, as you try to listen to this shaking voice, what they might be yearning for. You come in and tenderly advise so that they can align to what later they realize was for them. It's very easy to mislead, to misguide. And so teachers and parents try to work closely to ensure that this tender desire in this student is actually met by a precise and workable career.
Right. Yeah. Wow, impressive. What do you think, first of all, you can react to, does the grade really matter, and how important is it for voices of the guardian and the teacher in terms of shaping the career of these young ones?
Yes. First of all, I can say that yes, the grade may also matter because we are living in the, you know, our current environment. We base on what you come out from the school with, in terms of the grade. First of all, before it places you, for it to place you to the next career level. That is what the system of education has been gearing us towards. And that is to mean that, because I've said yes, that is to mean that depending on the grade that you have also, you have scored, that is after the high school, it may channel you into the next career opportunity, depending on the career opportunities that are available and what the government has provided in terms of the allocation of the grading system, who to go and pursue a certain course, like in education or in a medical field, etc. So yes, a grade may also matter.
Right.
And in the same breath, this grading system also, it also depends with the maybe the background. The background also fits in because it will tell most about what you'll do right after school with your grade. There are some, there are some families, they cannot manage even to afford education for their young ones, right after high school. Right. So for such a case, they will depend heavily on the grade or the outcome of the grading. The outcome of the grade they score in the high school. Yeah. So that one probably will matter most because it is the grade they are depending heavily on. But again, there are some families, depending on the family background, those who can manage to afford and maybe take their students or their kids to certain careers, not preferably the ones that have been designated by the government, So for that one, again, it becomes easier for such a child who hails from such a family, Yeah. Then, but now that student who hails from a humble background, the one that, is heavily dependent on the grade that will need, they score from the high school, that one now they have no choice. They really need to depend on the grade.
Right.
And again, I think that one answers.
Yeah, absolutely. Answered well. Now, how important is the voices of the guardians and now the teachers? Do you have influence personally on your students? Personally, there's teachers in high school that they're still memorable, even in primary school. I can say their 3 names in the middle of the night because I loved them. We had a very close relationship because they correct you, they help you. And in fact, a statistic says 90% of children spend actually half of their childhood with their teachers, meaning teachers are like, essential profession, yeah.
True.
So did you have a close relationship with your learners, and how important is it in terms of instilling your voice in their career path?
Yes. I would like to start by saying that the first role model of a child or a student in school is the teacher. That one is to say that students will spend most of their time when they are schooling with their teachers than even maybe with the time they spend with their parents. That one, you know, right when the student enrolls in kindergarten, and the way the student will grow academically in primary and in high school, and maybe even at tertiary level. You know, mostly students spend most of the time with their teachers. So from where I sit, the student's first role model of a child should be the teacher. Unfortunately, that's not the need. That's not what the learners maybe see in us teachers. But that's what I want to say.
Right.
I'm saying so from the because
from your experience,
from
as
my
well?
experience,
Okay.
I know I have several teachers whom I still
revere,
right now, and I revere.
Okay. Wow.
I take them with a lot of regard.
And now you're a teacher too,
Yes,
meaning that there's also students who look up to you. So you're like some sort of like a mentor to these learners.
Yes, I'm a true mentor.
Right.
Yeah, and so that one, it doesn't mean that now the parent did not play a significant role. You know, first of all, the parent is I mean, these are three parties. For success, actually, to be successful, for this student to pass, these are three very important parties. I'm the first one. I mean, the parent is the first party because they have provided the child. I'm the second main party, and the child is the other party. So the parties need to correlate and work cohesively, because there is a part that I will play for this child actually to succeed or to give us the proper performance. There's a part that this parent must also play. Likewise, there's a part that this kid must also perform in such a way that we need to balance. If I work my part, I perform my part well as a teacher. If the child performs his or her part well as a student. If the parent performs his or her knee, and by that you mean that there are factors or there are some conditions that the parent must provide or avail. Likewise, I must perform my part, and likewise the child must perform
their part. Their part. Impressive.
Yes.
Impressive.
So
okay. Okay. Thank you for that. Let me come back to you, Pascal. There's parents who say in this family, sisi tunakuanga daktari, tunakuanga pastors, dentists, and doctors or engineers. But then this Gen Z who has just finished, are they Gen Zs? Yes, they're Gen Zs because the next is better. Who's just finished their KCSE. Maybe they've not scored that expected grade from the parents, but then I also believe as a learner there's individual expectations as well, but you know, there's those disappointments and they happen, it's life here. You might not have attained your dream grade, but then now you have to deal with the reality of it. What is the alternative route to, you know, you going or forging ahead with your life? So as a parent and also as a teacher, how do you assist this learner who's just completed KCSE in the recently released exam to overhead with life? Should they get stuck up there? Should they cry? Should they make a phone call? There's even, I think there's an incident you're pointing out in the morning where there's a guardian who beat the daughter to death because she didn't attain the grade that the dad wanted, and it is really unfortunate.
Very unfortunate, very unfortunate. Thank you for those two questions. Actually, I think there are two questions. The first one, if I got it right, is what about these parents who want their kids to go in a certain direction? I think parents struggle to understand that at some point kids grow, and they don't really know at what point the child can be allowed to make decisions. And that is something every parent struggles with. And I will tell parents that it's okay to allow this person to be a human being, because God has given them the power to think and choose. So I think after Form 4, this human being is able to make a choice, is able to choose. I think listening to this child will make a difference. Find out their passion. Passion has to do with emotions. What do they love to do with themselves? You don't want them stuck in a career that they don't love just because you wanted to have a doctor or you wanted to have a pastor, something like that. Then
an engineer.
An engineer. So
maybe they want to be a DJ and play music, which is selling. It's a big career nowadays.
And exerting undue pressure on this young person because they now start feeling they need to match up to your expectations. The second thing that parents need to consider is the purpose. Purpose has to do with the reason behind the choice. Why am I choosing this career? Remember I said passion?
Absolutely.
Do I love it?
Purpose.
Then the second one is purpose. Why do I want to do this? Majorly it can be motivated by money, or you want to be in those top professions so that Baba so and so, you know, Mama so and so. But the reason why you want to do that thing is very important. Is it for the money? Is it because it's serving humanity? Is it because you feel that you are fit for that purpose? I think there needs to be a cordial association between a parent and a learner in relation to their career. Remember, they will be there for quite a while. I've seen cases where people go to university, do a degree, bring the paper back home and say, Dad, here is your paper, then goes ahead and do what
becomes
they
a DJ
were passionate
once again.
Your second askance of me was to talk to this learner who has just done their KCSE and they're thinking, what's next for me? The government has provided a path. The first 6 grades, that is C+ to A, are allotted space in the universities. So they can go the university way. Then once they enter university, together with their guardians, they can choose a path. There are very many courses that one can take. Now, someone didn't get a C+ and above. What next for them? We have TVET. TVET is another avenue. It checks in the people who have not yet, who didn't make it or cut it to university. They can consider TVET. They have very nice courses and they offer actually TVETs are very valuable to this country. Where we are at right now, we are really in need of TVET. They're doing a good job. Then after TVET, I think MTC goes to the same level with TVET. Then after TVET, we have the vocational training institutions. These ones are almost, I'm using the word almost, in every sub-county. They will be near your home. You can walk there and do something. So possibly C, C-, D+.
That means
can go there.
As well for high learning can be a diploma, and then you get to a degree.
Exactly.
For private, I believe, as well.
Exactly. And then now those ones who perhaps got an E, and these ones are the ones I want to address specifically.
You mean E's are still being issued in this very day?
E's are there, they're part of the grading system.
E for effort.
E for effort and all that, and I've seen several. And let me tell you something before I talk to the learners who got E's. These learners who get E's, usually some of them really do their best. They really do their best. You know, maybe the first thing you think is that these are guys who are not serious, these are guys who don't know what they're doing. No. In some cases, these are people who have put in a lot of effort. But for some reason or the other, they didn't just make it. Now, my view is this. If you feel in your heart that you didn't do your best, and you are 17 years or 16 years, go back and take another shot. Go back to school and take another shot. If in your heart you feel, I didn't give it my best, that will be the best alternative for you. Then if you gave it your best, and this is it, and you know that even if you went back, you'll still be in the same place, then that is the person I want to address. There are very many opportunities available for you. Very, very many opportunities. You know, sometimes we think that university is the only gateway to success. But that depends on
during our times it was.
During our times it was, but now look at...
It was the goal, but look what has happened with technology.
Was it really?
I think way back, somebody making it to a university was something to be... In fact, it was like an award-winning moment way back during those days.
Way back during those days. But nowadays, I think if you redefine success for yourself, being able to take care of yourself and your family and have an impact, then getting an E will not really be something that will make you want to despise yourself.
But then there's that shame of like you are just the first one from the bottom, meaning that I'm sure the parents feel some type of way, the learner also feels some type of way. But then I'm sure if, depending on the situations or the circumstances that led to you scoring an E, maybe it can be understandable, but I'm 1000% sure no parent will be comfortable to stare directly in the eyes of their son or daughter presenting an E to them. So how do you deal with that shame and disappointment as well?
You know, shame is a concept that I don't like as a person myself. I don't like shame at all, because it means I am reacting to the expectations of society. And yet here, the way I'm made and the way I've done my best, this is what I could bring.
Right.
So to feel ashamed about it will be to deny who I am. Remember I said, you've done your best.
Right.
You've done your best. So
is for effort.
Yes, overcoming shame is one of the tenets of true success.
Wow.
You must overcome shame. You have to overcome shame. Then convince your parents that, look here, I know you have these expectations because you love me, you want the best for me. And I want to tell you that this tool that I have in my hand, I can make the best out of it. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
Look at tailoring, for example. We have very good tailors, and they're doing a good job. We are all looking good here because of tailors. These things happen by the hands of human beings. You can be an amazing tailor. These are opportunities you can pursue. You can go into hairdressing.
Yes.
People have hair. That means they need someone to take care of that hair.
Yeah. And plumbing.
And plumbing. People are having houses. We are constructing houses every day.
Tertiary institutions.
Yes. So these things are available. I wouldn't say much because I feel that I might take too much time when Oliver is
it's
having
all right.
stuff.
It's all right. It's good to be insightful, and I love it. Mr. Oliver, let's carry away from that. Do you believe there are opportunities that young people can tap into, especially these ones who just completed KCC? I'm sure they're really excited about being on their smartphones. Joining TikTok is a trend in Kenya. Most young people are on TikTok and creating content, memes. They're called vines, the memes and vines. Some of them make money out of it. I believe the digital space is the co-ingredient. Do you believe there are many other opportunities that these young brains or youngins can tap into as they wait for placement? I believe that's next after the results.
Yes, I do. I do believe so. Outside here, maybe we are coming from a certain time, because we are now talking about the Gen Z era now, but we are talking about during our days, as you mentioned, or as my colleague mentioned, that we used to over-rely on the outcome of the knee, that is after high school, but currently, or coincidentally, even right now, the current curriculum or the current education system is heading towards now the competency of the learner and what the learner can do best. Okay, so like now in the knee, as the learner, for instance, as the learner awaits the time to join, I think that's the question. As the learner awaits their time to join, there are these, how can I describe them, short courses. I think the ones that they can just learn on their own, because nowadays they have advantage. Almost every other child has got an advantage of a digital platform.
The internet.
The internet. Whether in the houses, even the televisions are digitized, and you can Google anything, or you can use your smartphone or do something.
There's something we call here, it's called the University of YouTube.
Oh, the University
where a
of
lot
YouTube.
of Gen Zs have learned so many courses from there without being to a physical institution.
Sure. So I believe that there are a number of digital courses that they can actually take themselves through, or if it is through, some of them maybe through apprenticeship, they have maybe the people who can actually guide them through and do some of these, like the crafty courses. They can be able to touch on something, the hands. Sure. So they can be able to do something as they wait to join the placement in higher learning institution. But again, that is for those ones who have money to do that. But for those ones who have not money to score the entry grade, it is not the end of the world. We have those learners that finish high school when they feel that they have outgrown, or I mean they are beyond again coming back and need to take a second chance in their course, okay, in high school. So for them it's like, I'm already man enough, or I'm already a lady enough, and such that they are ashamed coming back to repeat or have a second shot in the high school. So for them, for my advice, they need to be vigilant about this the craft courses around here, because like tailoring, as my colleague said, you know, they can be able to learn something, and surprisingly, that is what actually feeds most of the people nowadays.
Yes, absolutely.
They can be able to proceed and maybe maybe do something like even the manicure and the manicure pedicure business or saloonist, you know. That is surprising. That's also a career in these guys, because these are students maybe who has scored an E. We are wondering where will they go? Will they commit suicide, or will they end their life just because they cannot go back and have a second chance or in higher education? So I believe that there are quite a number of opportunities, also depending on where you hail, because now we have an urban setup and an informal rural setup.
I'm also trying to look at that picture vividly.
Yes.
Somebody in the rural areas who maybe, for them getting a smartphone is big breakthrough.
Yes.
And the parent will have to sacrifice a lot before they grant them that smartphone.
Yes.
And compared to a person who's schooled at Alliance, they're used to the latest brands of it, So if you compare the lifestyles and the mindsets of these two guys, there's probably a very prominent difference,
Sure. What this child has left high school with, let's first of all just acknowledge that it may not just be academics the way we envision. This is a child who has grown up in character, for instance, okay? This is a child who is already, I'm saying this is a child who is already, he's no longer a child, let me just say, he's no longer a child because he has an ID or something above 18, because in the rural setup, you know, children will finish school when they are almost 20, you know, and they are even applying for the national identity cards, and you know, they're already moving on with life. So we are saying that maybe they go and maybe they become open. They should be open-minded. Their minds should be open to anything that will come their way, so that they enhance it and they take it positively, regardless of having underperformed in the high school. They should just take it positively and accept that this is the life that they are living in as at that moment. Whoever has money to get a good grade, they can take they can tentatively take a short course, or something of the short courses that we have already mentioned in the latter. And then as they are waiting to join the higher education, in the higher institution, the institution of higher learning. But for these one who cannot manage to do something, as long as they have a character, we are talking about what has this child finished school with, okay? Not just in academics, and work with it to forge progress.
Absolutely, thank you, Teacher Oliver. During our time, it was computer packages. For those who would afford it, hey, Sakwa, I'm doing a small, touch upon ICT. And then there's those who could go for driving to get your driving license, just to stay upbeat so that you don't get bored, because it takes a little bit long before they get that update, or the placement is happening and this. And thanks to CUSP, this time around they're doing it very swift and fast. But then I'd like us to delve into now mentorship and how it's important for these youngins to have someone who can guide them off during this free time, because they have a lot of time in their hands. Some of them will travel if they get a chance to. Some of them will stay with their parents. He's mentioned you can tap into the entrepreneurship space, maybe start a small business. That can keep you busy, because an idle mind is, workshop for the devil, But then who should be the first one to start the conversation about mentorship? Should it be the learner who is looking up maybe to someone who they want to be, or the parent can instigate it and say, you know what, since you want to be an engineer, I think engineer so-and-so is really doing well, maybe it's time for you to have a conversation or get to meet them. Or maybe you want to be a journalist, who is the greatest journalist in town? Can we reach out on social media? Let's hear from them and get a short course on how to be the person you want. Where does the conversation begin? With the guardian or with the learner, or it's two brains combined?
Good, sir. I think that is a good question. Mentorship. When you strive or struggle to make it intentional, it becomes less effective. Mentorship is like breathing. It happens when you don't know it. Actually, people are inspired to become doctors by doctors they observed without necessarily the doctors knowing they were being observed. That is what I mean. So mentorship, most of the mentorship that happens is unintentional. But if you wake up intending to mentor someone or to have an influence, you end up exerting little or no influence.
Yeah.
Because these minds are always seeking out for something that resonates with them. And they're always watching, be it on TV, be it in the papers, be it at neighbors, and they get to pick what they need. But at the moment you plug them in intentionally to stay with an engineer so that they can learn, they end up picking the mistakes most of the times and looking at what is not working for them.
Yeah.
As a teacher, and I teach math, I interact with a class daily. If I'm assigned to a certain class, I go there every day. And you can imagine the level of influence I can have on a mind there.
Yes.
I can actually direct them to a certain perspective. And this is why I think the government picks teachers with some seriousness, because we have a lot of influence on learners.
Yeah.
If I want to have a number of engineers in this class, I start it at Form 1.
Yeah.
Making some not so serious comments on the need for engineers and the impact they are bringing. I can do that for 4 years, and everybody in that class is looking towards engineering.
Right.
If I decide to point them to the direction of pastors, I just start making some slight comments on how pastors are important and how it pays to be a pastor, and at the end of it, they go that way. Yeah. Mentorship for me, I think, should be every adult who is a responsible citizen should live in such a way that they know that they are exerting influence, whether you are being watched or not. And it starts with every adult. That is to answer your question. Not parents, not the learner, not teachers. It starts with every adult, because when you are in traffic, you are at the market, or wherever you are being watched by young people who are learning something and admiring your profession or your character. So it starts with every adult. Unfortunately, sometimes adults fail the young ones. In the manner in which we speak, we fall short of the expectations of society or about us or from us.
Yeah.
I hope I have answered your question.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. But then I'm looking at this young man from the interiors, where they're not highly exposed to the conversation of mentorship. For them, they just know KCSE. Oh, nimepata C+, wacha niende yenye wataniita, you know, usually wacha ikuje vile itakuja. There's usually that, wacha ikam vile itakam, yeah. But then when you look at also these youngins, there's specific things that they want for themselves, but then there's those that teachers instill as well, and there's those that parents insist that, you know, this is what I want to. So how do you guide this young man to achieve their dream, you know? Because I believe that's sort of a rock and a hard place. Maybe for them they want to be a journalist, but then the parents want them to be a teacher because maybe it's affordable, it can start off swiftly a little bit here.
I think next to illiteracy is lack of exposure in terms of the things that can really damage a human being. Lack of exposure, and I think it might not necessarily be lack of mentorship, but lack of exposure. Yeah. And majority of our learners in this country are not exposed to the careers they wish to join.
Okay.
Because even the nearest hospital might not be having a doctor. The nearest hospital in a sub-county somewhere might not necessarily be having a doctor. Yeah. And the image they have of these careers of a pastor or of a lawyer or engineer are actually just things that they have had. They have not really interacted with the schedule of an engineer. You might love the returns of being an engineer, but you might not really like what goes into being an engineer, the learning that has to take place, the discipline, and the hours you have to work before you drive those trucks.
Yeah,
that
the training, it's intense.
So you can expose me to the benefits, but have you exposed me to the discipline it needs? And so lack of exposure is a problem, and I think all the stakeholders need to look into this. We need to have a very decent conversation on how to ensure that every learner is exposed at least to 70% of what every career entails, so that when we say a nurse, the learner is able to understand what it means to be a nurse, so that they can make an informed, the word is informed, choice.
Informed choices.
Otherwise we are just making choices, unfortunately, based on the
blanket
returns.
choices.
Yeah.
All right, thank you for that. Mr. Oliver, at some point I once heard someone say, I think it was a guardian, huyo wangu nilimwachia Mungu. Like they got a certain grade and they were demotivated, for lack of a better term, or they were uninspired to even, move ahead with their life. But then Mr. Pascal has pointed out, you guys have play a very huge role in determining the next phase of these youngins. Maybe what are the mistakes that guardians make in terms of shaping the next course for this learner? I'd say mistakes because we've talked about the positives a lot and you guys are like parents still. Yeah.
Actually, this is a young learner who is growing, right as they join the school at the child level, as they come perhaps up until high school or even after high school, most of them are they're heavily dependent on what we advise them on, either as parents or as teachers. But we hail in a society whereby parents have predictably been asking their kids what they wish to become when they grow up, and it's like this child is naive. They aren't aware about even the significance of the certain career that the same parent may be advising them to take. They are just oblivious of the outcome. They don't know. As my colleague has pointed out, they are like this engineer, maybe because of exposure, they don't know what an engineer may look like or what's the role of the engineer. So there are kids who grow up with a certain mentality or what they will answer to such kind of questions if the parents push them on the question of what career would you wish to become when you grow up. Some of them would have a certain mindset that they would prefer to have to pursue those careers that would be very heroic. For example,
but let's say maybe like right now, but I would have loved you guys to answer that. Some of the most marketable courses right now, like let's say ICT, IT, things to do with tech is really marketable. Medicine as well, engineering that you just mentioned.
Yes.
So maybe they wanted those, syndicated ones, but then maybe they're not able to.
Yes. And then you'll find just a couple of them again, maybe will also prefer some of those cool courses that maybe like journalism, like
I don't think
like
journalism
DJ
cool
or something.
Course.
That's why I've said just a few of them, not so many of them. But now these are child until they finish the school, so it means that it's sort of a journey that you need to walk with them. Okay.
Absolutely.
Because the moment you actually look back, this is like a small kid with 3 years or less in the house, whom you are supposed to be like, the eyes are on the kid all the time, because they can touch something, a flask, and then it falls or something. I mean, they can get injured anytime. This is how the journey of a child should be all the time.
Absolutely.
Why? Because the moment, like for instance, a parent, maybe we have these parents who do not even stay with their young ones, as they school. Because let's not just assume that these are boarding school whereby the kids will be in school all the time with their teachers, and assume these are day school or a child who is actually commuting on daily basis. When we expect that the child is supposed to be like with the parent almost all the time when they come back from school or when they are not in school, we have those parents who have just, sorry for a better word, maybe to abscond. They have absconded their duties as the parents. You can't just assume that the child is doing the right thing. So they tend to be like, due to peer pressure, their character, maybe they tend to sway or veer off from the expected norms in the society, and maybe again they become indisciplined. And so with that indiscipline, they veer off from the main objective, or maybe they even forget. It's like now, that's like that parent who says that huyo wangu nimemwachia Mungu nini na nini. Maybe in one or the other, you can't just say like that. Where did the rain start beating the child from?
But are they also willing to pursue that direction of? That's a good question. Are they willing? Because maybe also the child is unmanageable. Yeah.
Okay, I'm saying that at the point where the child is becoming unmanageable,
especially now the ones who've completed high school.
Yes.
In fact, there's those who say nilikuwa tu nimengoja umalize uniondoke. There's those instances. You know, there's so many.
Actually, huyu mtoto, there's somewhere where he started to trail away from the discipline or from the norms that we expect. Either
it could be from the parent
or from a school,
or from the home.
When maybe they were schooling, maybe they were away from the parents, and maybe there was little attention on what this child was doing. Okay,
right.
So by the time they realize it's already a bit late, and therefore that it's like we cannot actually mend up this, you know. So though they try their best, they call for the mentors. You know, a child may also listen best to a person maybe whom they are not used to. So maybe they, you know, it's the parent again who is going to guide, or maybe to prefer maybe the dad or the uncle or the teacher or wherever, a pastor in church or somebody to talk to the child. Okay.
Yes.
But my key point, Brother Sakwa, is this child, you need to walk with the child. Even if you go to church, you need to be like, you are also heading to that church with the child. For them to see the significance of as a leader, because you are the parent, okay? Because the moment you fail to go to church and you expect this child to go to church, you know, at some point
you are
the
never
child,
a demonstration and an example.
Yes, this child may never see the essence of going to church because the parent is not going there, okay? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. But also, I think before I go to the next point, I think parents also play a huge role. It's a huge role in determining. I'd also agree, those who say lazima kuwe daktari, I think it helps. Lazima kuwe engineer. It helps because, like you said, they have a vision and a voice, but it's really shaky.
Yes.
That's what you said. So it's important for you to mold it and morph it into something meaningful. Yes. Still on you, right now we live in an era of technology. Artificial intelligence is the next big thing in the whole entire world. The digital space at large. I love that the government has a platform as well where I think they came up with something called Digital Content Association or something of Kenya. We talked about it last year a lot, where young people who have already amassed a following on social media, they can join the association and be able to make money out of it. And if you observe closely the people in that association, most of them are just Form 4 leavers, and most of them are also dropouts as well. Most of them are qualified expertise in various professions. So technology is here to give opportunities. But then also when you look at what's happening in the country as well, these AI images being shared, they are bringing some wahala, and you can see the massive outrage as well from the leaders on the higher up. How can young people tap into now the space of artificial intelligence, especially now from a school's perspective, especially as a teacher, also in escalating academic research, development, and now career? And have you interacted with AI? Is it part of your package at your institution?
Okay, at my institution, I've not yet interacted with it so much, though I'm aware about it. So I wish to say this, Banasakwa, that you know, what is going on right now is that the society is already informed about technology, okay? That is to mean that every other child, as they grow up, they are aware about one or two touch-ups on the phone or on the computer. Even nowadays, computer is actually an examinable subject at high school. That is to say that in the field of technology, this child is almost familiar with what is expected of them.
They are savvy.
And secondly, now that because everybody is digitized or has got this knowledge
even
about
the way you receive your case, you see this here. It's no longer text. It's go to the website and receive.
Simply just download.
It's a development from the previous,
So what these children need to do, or these kids need to do, is this: for them to tap in those opportunities in the digital space, and to call them careers. We have to draw them back to what they qualify. It's like let's take it like it's another career sort of, because without having merited in Form 4, for instance, without meriting there and maybe qualifying for a certain course, you wake up and then you cannot. It's almost impossible for any other person just to create a digital platform without having done
know-how.
enough research and know-how,
right.
or having gone to the expert, okay? And I'm saying this because unfortunately, even those ones who claim to be like the digital expertise, even those who claim to be somehow they must have undertaken that course.
Okay.
Yes, whether with private partners whom they agree to teach them, or maybe in just a formal institution which does the training, because it's IT. You know, IT is everywhere, okay?
And now it's things to do with data. You being on a platform, you're agreeing to the terms and conditions of that app, meaning you're submitting your personal data to them. Passwords, photos, those are images, and that's data.
And do you know they are doing
videos, voice,
they are doing crazier things that we even do not know than we imagine, that is. They are doing crazier things, and that is their world.
Has it influenced academia? If you were to say in a way that you guys study at school, in terms of now, let's Google something, let's get images of a grasshopper. Do we still study grasshoppers?
We do. We do. That is still part of our curriculum, you know. We cannot denounce that. We cannot run away from that. So what I can say or advise them is that they should also be watchful about the legal space, because now without undertaking the proper training, they tend to
misuse now
and go astray.
And that's why we're hearing, these are misusing platforms.
Yes, and they end up regretting for the rest of their life.
Absolutely. Do you believe the digital space is the next big thing for learning institutions, especially now with artificial intelligence? And I hear this robotics is coming up, because last year we saw Elon Musk launch Zucker's network humanoids. They can entertain, they can teach, they can serve drinks. That's even in, I think the Meta boss, Mark Zuckerberg, 2 weeks ago, he did something on a podcast, Akasema. There's part of the Meta crew that are already fired. As we speak, they are home, and there's been replaced with robots and artificial intelligence savvy professionals. So meaning that they're losing a certain profession and replacing it with technology. So if we were to serve it to academia, do you believe it's the next big thing? And how can young people, teachers as well, tap into that?
Allow me to answer your question with several questions. Why are we just consumers of AI and not producers? That is one.
Okay.
And number two, is it the next big thing, or it is the big thing? I think it is the big thing.
Okay.
And I think we should also be thinking as a country and as a people of coming up with some things as far as AI is concerned, not just be the end users of the same. I think the next big career is digital security, cyber security.
Yeah, cyber security.
Because now
it's
this
really
thing has,
big.
it has permeated our society and all that, and things like coding and
things to do
programming
with
that
data
used to be big
management.
things are not there. And I just
Absolutely.
give a command and say, and remind me to be brief, by the way.
Yeah, actually we are out of time.
Yeah,
We are operating on
yeah.
30 seconds.
All right then. So I think because we no longer code, or you can just give a command by voice and it happens, I think the next thing is cyber security. How can we be secure in this era? And so if it is a career, think of security. Yeah, and academia, of course, it's inevitable. It has come. We have to adapt.
Yeah, I had last year, we interviewed someone here who said the biggest challenge as well for most users is literacy. Literacy on the ethics of operation. You've mentioned, I think we are more of consumers of even the content than even the content creators here.
Yes,
so what if we shift it and become part of the back-end creators now, managing it and now being able to even distribute it and educate others? So I think it's an integral part. So we have to say goodbye. So I love your parting shots in 30 seconds. Still, I'm on you. 30 seconds. Your last word to the Gen Zs who just finished high school as we exit. In fact, 5 seconds.
It's okay. It's called Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education. It is a certificate.
Yeah.
It is called Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education. It is a certificate. You can get another one, and it doesn't really condemn you to be what it is. You can change it, you can do better, you can become anything you want to become. Absolutely. It is just a certificate.
Your parting shot, the camera.
Yeah, for the candidates, for the previous candidates who already finished their high school, I would like to encourage them. Those who managed actually to score a grade that will actually enable them into a career of a higher institution, please go ahead and enhance it. just embrace it and work best to ensure that you get something out of it. Those who did not manage or who did not score something, I mean who did not have a better grade, maybe that is D and D minus and below, they can proceed and also get a certain career within their reach that is actually vocational or something that is crafting, where they can touch their hands on and make sure that actually they embrace it for life to move on. All will be well.
All right, thank you. You have social media as well? You have social media where people can follow? Please say it very fast.
No, it's okay. I have enough followers.
You have enough followers? Okay. Wow, for the first time, I'm meeting people who have enough followers.
Thank you, though.
Thank you so much. Teacher Pascal Ainer, he's a teacher at Kiangari High School alongside Oliver Matara. He's a geography teacher at the same institution. Thank you for sharing your insights and great to meet you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you too. Because of time, I'll not read your comments. I'll sample them off the air. We'll respond, retweet, and repost. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow from exactly 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. at Brand Sank 101 is my handle. Have a fantastic Monday. See you tomorrow.